All right, what is going on, everybody? This is the gathering of the Yonko and the supernova of YouTube. This is going to be an absolutely crazy stream. Thank you to everybody who's tuning in right now. Who is already here in the stream? Who's with me right now? We got Brago.
What's poppin'?
We've got Dustin.
What's good?
We've got Joy Boy.
Hey, YouTube.
We've okay. We've got Tekking.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Wait, we're on YouTube?
Yeah, we're on YouTube.
That's what this was like. We're like on Twitch or something right now. What?
Oh man, no, we got to be live streaming on YouTube.
We got to
get that YouTube money. Exactly, and then of course, Mr. Yonko Productions, main man, posting up, stinging us on Reddit. Now, throughout the remainder of just to let you guys know, more people are going to be flooding in. I'm not going to say who we invited. There was a link earlier that I put in the chat sort of as a teaser for you guys, but I kind of wanted to keep it a surprise because I think it'll be fun for you guys to stick around and you end up seeing who's about to come in. This is the first time, I think ever, that we've been able to gather everybody together at one point, so this should be a ton of fun. We've been working on putting this together for, I feel like, months. I think the last time we tried doing this was during the wedding. At the very beginning of it, like during the Big News Morgan's Underworld chapter. Yeah. But yeah, things are going to be very good tonight. I guess the first thing we should start with was the latest chapter. And obviously, the official release is Monday. We all say you should be supporting the official release on Monday. But of course, we didn't want to be spoiled ourselves, so we read it this Thursday. Guys, what do you think of the latest chapter?
Not as trash as the last one.
This is true. Well, I wouldn't say the last one. Well, it depends on if you're a fan of Nami or not.
I think there's going to be a bunch of really disappointed people. So like the end of this chapter, I loved it. The idea of characters actually dying in the story and having the emotional impact of it is fantastic. But I'm not certain if it's going to happen or not. And if it doesn't happen, I feel like a lot of people are going to be disappointed.
Yeah, because he should be dead.
I read it, yeah, and as soon as the chapter was over, I'm just like, this better not be a redo of what happened with Pell.
Well, that's what I was talking about in my live reaction, man. You've got Pedro, you've got Pell, you've got Pagaya, all these characters with P. They've got the will of P, my dude. They're going to live if they have P in their name.
Yeah.
That's Pedro.
Peltro.
And I mean, you can't even, like, Pell had, like, basically a nuclear bomb detonate right next to him. All Pedro had was, like, a couple strands of TNT. So I'm like, this could still go either way.
Though, to be fair, people were pointing out after the chapter went live that you could clearly see Big Mom getting sort of blown away by the blast.
Oh, yeah, that was beautiful.
Oh, yeah, I think I did see that. That was pretty, yeah.
That was hilarious, though.
Because I did not see that the first time I read through this chapter. I just saw, like, the main explosion, and then I was focusing on Carrot, too.
Yeah, I was a little bit like not sure where the explosion took place because I first assumed that Pedro was fighting Perospero on the Sunny, and then
same.
And I'm like, did he just blow the Sunny up? Like, what just happened?
Yeah.
And then you see it off to the side. I'm like, oh, I guess they might have been fighting closer to the shore. Maybe Pedro knocked him off the ship first because he's not an idiot. He's not going to blow up their only means of escape.
Right.
But yeah,
that's what I thought at first. And I saw Perospero. He was still on the shore. So I guess Pedro attacked him on the shore, and he just blew himself up. He was like, "Yo, what are you doing? That's the Sunny, bro." But
still, that explosion was crazy. Like if you actually keep it in perspective, that was giant.
Yeah, really.
So that's another feat for Big Mom because she tanked it.
Yeah, I mean, she just tanked the Zeus attack too. The crazy weather Zeus attack that Nami just did. I wanted to go back to something one of you mentioned earlier, which was that, like, this chapter. Oh, it was Dustin, I'm sure, because Dustin gave the chapter before this a 0 out of 5, like the troll he is. But like, you're the buggy of the stream, my guy. But no, I think the one thing that I did at least really like about this chapter was, one, it sets up the sacrifice that we've all sort of been alluding to, that there was going to be sacrifice at the end of the arc. But then two, I think this sets up perfectly Carrot joining the crew. Because before, it wouldn't have really made sense for her to, like, join them if Pedro was still alive, because they would have probably just made, like, the new Nox pirates and maybe got Peckhams along the way and just, like, started up this new part of the Grand Fleet. But now she's all alone if Pedro's actually dead. And if she's actually left all alone, where else is she going to go? At least until they end up meeting with Nekomamushi and Inuarashi again, she's going to have to stay with the Straw Hats.
Well, this is the way that I
have to,
Yeah, this is the way I feel about it. Why is she here? Why is Oda giving her time in this story? Yeah. What grand purpose did she have in Whole Cake Island? I don't see any. So then you're kind of left with the impression like, okay, well, she must be here so that we can get to know her more. For what reason?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because there's no Pedro had a definitive reason to leave Zoe because this is like I'm gonna try to avenge Zeppo and it's like my swan song. This is how I'm gonna go out. Carrot was just kind of like I'm here.
He snuck out.
Yeah. I gotta say too, for anyone who's watching the anime, I feel like Carrot has really been pushed a lot recently. A lot of the like implied filler that they've been adding is with Carrot, and like that whole arc in between Zoe and Whole Cake Island that they put in with like the marine territory was straight up just Carrot fan service for days.
I gotta tell you, like just from a merchandising aspect, I mean, Carrot would make lots of money probably.
I mean, definitely. But
I'm also seeing, speaking of money, well, really quickly, I want to say this. Speaking of money, we had 2 donations coming in already. Guys, I want to advise you right now, don't donate big sums just because we're not going to be able to see it. We don't have like the Streamlabs thing going up on screen. So if you're going to donate at some point, don't do it today because we're not going to be able to see this. And as more people start flooding into the chat, like it's going to get kind of crazy. So we've got 2 people already. Silver's 000 who said Joy Boy Brago is the only reason I'm here. # no carrot for Nakama. And then we got a $5 donation from somebody, but it got deleted by Master Goku before we could see it.
Oh, geez. I didn't even know you could delete it in the chat.
Yeah. By the way, you were mentioning before we started streaming that like, we'll definitely hit 1,000, dude. We're already
we already cracked
live viewers. Okay, half the people aren't even here yet.
Okay, screw it. 5,000. I'm calling it right now. After Buddy gets on here, 5K.
That's it, man. That's it.
I gotta
5K will be pretty crazy
home.
once we're all in here. Yeah.
If Pedro dies and it's like in vain, like they don't use the opportunity to escape, is that something that y'all think would like take away from this chapter if looking back on it?
Yeah, probably.
I would say it would. Yeah.
Well, when you say escape, you mean escape Whole Cake or escape? I mean, because they already escaped the shore. Like
Pedro is doing this so they have the opportunity to escape. So all they should do is do the coup de burst and get away.
It was even set up in this chapter. I think if they could get a solid coup de burst off, they should probably be not out of her territory, but they would have a really good run on her, you know?
See, but that's one of the things I found really stupid about this chapter is that they're gonna coup de burst and then just leave Sanji there with putting a Chiffon. The whole arc was to save Sanji, and then now it's like, he's gonna leave.
No, you could go into the path because I don't know how far Whole Cake is from Chalk Island. Cacao Island. I don't know how far that is, but it's only a kilometer using coup de burst. It's probably not that. It's probably multiple kilometers to Cacao Island. So you'd figure that's just to get ahead of her, just to get some distance between you and the giant, screaming, hungry person coming at you.
Hey, that was good. We Disney. I heard that catch.
Yeah, I know.
I caught himself.
I work in a freaking store. I got to be careful. I have to pull it down.
That's right. Really quickly, I want to introduce another person who was just added to the call. Right before, hold that thought, Yonko. We've got the one and only Mr. King of Lightning who just joined in. What's going on, Chris?
What's going on, man?
What was that?
Yo, indeed. Yo.
Oh, man. All right, so Yonko, go. What were we talking about earlier?
Yeah, so with regards to the escape, even if they coup de burst, like I feel like that the threat will still be there, but the way to get out of that is to set up the fisherman pirates who are already setting up their escape, and they might be the next, the way to actually get the hell out of, Whole Cake and at least pick up Sanji.
Well, I got this question.
Well, I mean, what's going on with Praline right now? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I got this question, right? So even if the Straw Hats leave, right, they coup de burst out and it all ends up working somehow. How exactly are they going to both accomplish their mission and avoid Big Mom? We've seen Big Mom on Zeus, and she is hella fast. And so if they coup de burst, I would assume that they would either eventually run out or Big Mom would catch up to them. But if for whatever reason Big Mom can't follow them, then they're not actually doing what they're supposed to do, which is lead Big Mom out into the middle of the ocean. The whole situation seems really weird to me.
Yeah.
And even
I think go ahead.
Even if they coup de burst and they go get Sanji, what's the point of even coming back? I feel like Oda introduced the cake baking for a reason, so Big Mom has to be in front of the cake. So it wouldn't really make sense for them to escape right now, even if
if we take what Nami said at face value about the coup de burst only going 1 kilometer, which I think is ridiculous. I don't see how that's possible, but whatever. It wouldn't necessarily matter because Big Mom would still be able to track him. Like Katakuri and company, like she couldn't, like they couldn't track him because they have no way. Like they can maybe go on the tart ships and try and sail, but they won't be able to catch up. But Big Mom would be like right there hunting them down because Zeus should B, like she'll do something, and Zeus will definitely follow her orders now, and she'll just follow him like a flying nimbus, and boom. Like the way I see is that she's the one piece. She's like a Kainu in a sense, where very Terminator-like, where she's not gonna stop until she gets what she wants. Yeah. So definitely.
Do you guys feel like it's been set up that Big Mom will find out that the cake isn't on the ship? Because in the last chapter, it said specifically that if she saw the ship and the cake not on there, then she would attack everyone. I feel like that's the way that it's going to go. Sanji just left the island, so they would be following right behind him seconds afterwards, almost, or minutes afterwards. It doesn't feel right. So I almost feel like they have to be stuck on Whole Cake Island for at least some time. And the only way that would make sense would be if Big Mom starts attacking everyone, I guess, and not necessarily following them.
Anybody else feeling this arc is dragging longer than it should?
Yeah, I mean, so to preface that, we had an entire part 1 of this discussion on Brago's channel about a week ago when we were talking about this arc sort of dragging a little bit and people's different opinions on it. So if you haven't already checked out that stream, I forgot what he called it, but you know the thumbnail if you see it. It's like the picture with all our faces on it. It's great. So go check that out. Yeah. But one thing I was going to bring up on the topic of Big Mom, to sort of hop off what King was saying earlier, is like, I'm curious how they're going to make Sanji feeding Big Mom the cake hype. Because how this is sort of being set up to me is like, Luffy obviously always ends an arc with some type of giant punch. And if you guys remember, the first time that Big Mom had one of her hunger pangs, Jinbei did that like Fishman karate jab where he shoved the croquembouche down her throat. And I'm thinking something like that, where Sanji bakes the cake, he throws it to Luffy, Luffy goes Gear 4, and then he like King Kong guns it down her throat.
Oh, that would be so trash. I'm sorry. That would be so trash, man. If he just ends the arc with putting a cake down her throat, that's like, I don't know. That's not dope to me.
Yo, I want to throw this in here, though, that if you could compare this arc to any arc beforehand, it seems to me most like Impel Down. And Impel Down didn't end with Luffy throwing a punch. So it doesn't necessarily have to be the case.
You're right. It ended with Magellan making a kick, right? Wasn't it a kick?
It was a kick. Yeah, it was Giganto's stamp.
Yeah, that was that.
Yeah, it was him combined with what's his face, Mr. 3.
Galdino.
Yeah. But hold on. But like, even still though, like, why would that be necessary if she's already looking for the cake? All you have to do is to be like, hey, here's the cake, and she'll go right to it. Like, why do we have to do some crazy punch and shove it down shove it down her throat? I was gonna curse for a second, Roger. God damn it.
Hey man, I appreciate it. I'm taming everybody. By the way, real quick, I got to make another introduction because more of us are starting to flood in. People were asking for Shanks to come and stop the war. They were trying to summon him. We finally have together, all of us in one stream. Mr. Sawyer 7 Mage, what's going on? Thank you for joining us today.
Oh God, Sawyer.
I don't speak French.
Where's my mouse ball?
How's it going?
Legendary Pokemon.
How's it going?
Oh my goodness.
Man. Nice to talk to you, man. I don't think I've ever spoken to you before.
There you go.
Dude, there's always a first. There's a first for everything. I was. I didn't see a. Did you guys? We're not using any cameras or anything, right? It's just like.
No. Free form. Hop in, hop out, whatever you need to.
If you want to use it.
Okay.
If you want to use the camera, I'd be fine with it.
No.
I'm good. Dude, no, Sawyer's naked right now. Dude, Sawyer's naked on his bed, chilling.
That's right. He's like, well, Attica never does his streams with pants on. He always talks about that. He has to look down and make sure he actually has pants on if he gets up.
I mean, guys, I do my reviews in a fucking son of a.
Oh no!
There we go. There we go.
It starts.
Oh no!
I do all my. Damn.
I'm doing better than everyone.
Okay, I do my reviews wearing a suit. I do my reviews wearing a suit and tie, and I usually don't wear pants when I do those. So there you go.
But yeah,
so Sawyer.
What's the topic? Like, what are we talking about?
I was going to introduce Sawyer to this a little bit. We just started with the beginning of going over the last chapter. So we're all sort of giving our opinions, freeform discussion. Okay. What did you think of the last chapter?
I mean, I thought it was better than last week's, for sure. Like, I mean, last week's was pretty hard for a lot of people. I guess, I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of disappointment going on, but I feel like the disappointment, you can explain it based on people's expectations. So I'm kind of curious, like, what were people expecting to happen more than anything? Because you can't be disappointed if your expectations are being met. So if you're disappointed, that means your expectations are not being met. So I kind of wondered like what people expected to happen from this arc.
That's a good question. What were you? That's a really good question. What were you expecting for Neverworld?
Yo, what up?
What is this?
Oh, respecting women.
It's gonna
Tim.
All day, every day. Yo,
Shout
what
out
up?
to Stussy.
Oh my God! People, I got a donation, by the way. I got to read this one. This is from Ardent Take. He sent $50. He said, "WTF? Is that Sawyer? Take my money. Expected him on a Brago stream, but this works too. It is a good day, my dudes. A good day."
Shout out to Ardent Take.
Yo, get those viewers up.
That's it, man. We're already at 1,600 concurrent viewers, and we haven't even really dove into anything yet. So that's good.
With the addition of Fornever, I believe this entire group has like a collective over 1 million subs. So yes,
yeah.
But we kind of share subs though. So
no, we don't. Don't ruin it.
Get Corazon to shut the man's mouth. Don't tell him to say that.
But yo, to bring this back to the initial question, how can Oda make the cake hype? I want to plug this again. I plugged this on Brago stream. I plugged this on my channel. But I really wonder if Sanji isn't going to bake the cake while simultaneously fighting his family. And so a lot of people hear that at first, and people hear this and they say, okay, well the Ichiji and the Vince Smoke, they're done in the story. But as of even a couple of chapters ago, right, when Judge had his turn in the story. He specifically said that he wouldn't harm Sanji or his friends, but he did not apply that to his family. We know from Reiju that he can sort of control them. And then below, I'm gonna go again. And then below that, he said, "We as the Germa 66 will protect you until the moment in which Caesar flies off into the sky." And then when the castle was actually like toppling down, we can actually see a scene in which Caesar is flying off into the sky and Ichiji is watching them. And below he says, "So there you go, huh?" So I'm not certain if the Vinsmoke are done. And I think that would be an excellent way to make the baking the cake something that we could look forward to, aside from just, like cooking feats, which to each their own, I suppose.
Yo, I got to mention this, but I saw a comment in the chat from Greg, and he's like, he thinks that the Straw Hats will escape using Sea Kings and to take the boat out.
Who can control the Sea King?
Impel Down, having like the shark,
similar to Impel Down. The chat's going so fast. I just
Roger, do you have slow-mo turned on?
I could check really quick.
Oh,
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how to even turn it on.
It should be on like the settings for the chat. It should be like right there.
All right.
You can slow up to like
discussion. I'll fix this.
I think you can slow up to like 40 or 50 seconds.
I've done it over. I think I've seen a minute before. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Because sometimes people just go stupid.
Oh yeah, it's just like a freaking mile a minute. You can't see anything.
Have to regulate some people, man. Yeah.
Oh.
See, that's why we have moderators in here. We've got Dustin in the chat and actually in the call moderating things. We got Theory 2, External Flash. Yeah, we got a lot of people in there. So. That's true. Shout out to the mods. So I want to jump off of what Joy Boy was just talking about and sort of get everybody's opinions on this. What do you guys think of a potential Ichiji Sanji fight happening? Like, is there really enough time for that before we end the arc?
I would say no. I would just say a flat out, we're not going to see that.
That'd be great to see, though.
I think
it would be like great, but
I'd be like end arc or maybe even like something like close to like post arc, because it'd be like there'd be some type of journey, obviously back to Zou. Like, I don't know if we can go back to Zou and then to Wano Kuni or go straight to Wano Kuni. I'm not too sure. But it could be the case where like there's like a send-off of some kind. But Sanji's get.
But you guys are saying what we expected, though. We expected like more like battle feats from Sanji, and seeing Sanji versus Ichiji, I feel like that would make a lot of the people happy.
Didn't they make peace already though? Why would they fight now?
Ichiji didn't make peace with Sanji.
Yeah,
it was Judge.
No, that was Judge.
But he said they wasn't gonna interfere.
But hey,
once Caesar flies off. Yeah.
Here's the thing, though.
And
The Vince siblings, they made a point to say they don't really have normal emotions. So would Ichiji even really have the ability to hold a grudge against somebody?
I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
A lot of people say that the Vinsmoke are emotionless, and I don't agree with that. They lack positive. They lack positive emotion. You can see clearly that they can get irritated, they can get mad, all that stuff.
Not even necessarily that. No, not necessarily that. Like to an extent, because I think that because of the drug that Sanji's mom took. You saw Niji and you saw Yonji. They came back when Judge was in danger.
But Ichiji was the only person that didn't. He hasn't had that reaction yet, though.
Maybe like just like he may be like just like a clean slate. Like no, like I have emotions. Fair enough.
Like Ichiji is like a soldier through and through. He's just like following orders.
Exactly. Yeah.
He hasn't had that
I
moment.
think there's a chance that the opposite might happen though. Like instead of Ichiji and Sanji fighting, they might actually work together to get out of the predicament.
Well, that's another thing too. Like, what's the point?
I don't know, bro.
What? No, like, what's the point of like Oda sending off like Sanji on this magic carpet ride by himself and putting?
I can show you the world.
Like, I don't understand. Like, there has to be a purpose for that, for him like going off by himself. Like, I don't think it was
the world under his trunks.
Yeah,
let's
go.
Yeah.
Someone was singing a whole new world. I just immediately
oh, new
on the back of the flight carpet going, tonight I'm respecting women.
But seriously, I feel like you might be setting me up pretty disappointed because that Ichiji Sanji fight sounds awesome, and I think that what we're just going to get is a Sanji baking a cake and then Pudding being in the background being like, "Oh my god, he's so awesome, but I hate him, but I love him," and that's what we're gonna get instead.
Yo, so I have two things to say. First of all, I want to hear Sawyer because he's a rare fucking Pokemon and he was saying some shit.
And then 2G, man. Keep it PG, baby.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm the one that wrote that shit. My bad. And then number two, I want to say is why are you so sure that this arc is about to end? When the only reason that we have to believe that are sources that are usually end up being wrong.
Here we go.
Hey, that's facts.
Hey.
I'm not touching this one.
Hey, I'm just saying that the editors are usually wrong. And
how long would you predict it to like keep going? Because like what other like loose ends do we have to tie up?
Yeah, so I'm thinking that we need Pudding to do more, specifically regarding her double fruit abilities. We need some sort of conclusion to the brothers and the Sanji saga, which I don't think is finished. Obviously, you need to have making of the cake, and then after Big Mom eats the cake, I don't think that it's going to end up being kosher. So you need some event after that point in time. And then there's
give or take, how many chapters are we talking about?
I mean, if you wanted my opinion, I think that it could go up to 20. But I think my opinion is probably closer to like 12. 15.
So Wano is like in your mind, Wano is for sure not starting this year then. For sure.
Yeah.
In my mind, at the end of the year.
October, but that's what I heard.
Well, that's because an event in Kyoto. But
the editor, the stupid editor, was just like hyping it up.
Hey,
like, that's a problem.
Hold up. Here's the thing that I'm gonna throw some insight. Right now, we're 7 chapters into the next volume, right? And usually there are about 10 chapters. And based on 877, it looks like Oda's, really pushing towards the conclusion. So I think by at least the end of this volume, we should have most things tied up. And then from the next volume, whatever transition stuff is going to happens through there. And then at least, I want to say, by the end of the year, we should hit Wano.
Yeah. What I've heard is after this,
like one thing I want to say, Joy Boy, you mentioned like the whole like you definitely need some closure in terms of the Vince Smoke plot line for sure, but that doesn't have to happen in Whole Cake Island.
True.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say for sure what has to happen or doesn't. But I think if you look at what normally happens, then most of the plot lines are self-contained within an arc. Usually,
these editors say a whole bunch of crazy shit because I remember it was about, I want to say 2 or 3 years ago, the editor of Hunter x Hunter. He said, "Oh yeah, this year Takashi's gonna do a top 5 greatest moments," and the dude did like 3 chapters and went on hiatus. So these editors are some horrible hype men.
Wait, hold on, but here's the thing though, like
that's
if
go ahead.
From a time standpoint, you also have to factor in because I think I said this before, but about the volumes, you're right about that. But also from a real time standpoint, Oda takes breaks. We have a break again coming up next week.
Yes.
So it's like every, let's say 2 months, we have, instead of having like 8 chapters, we have like 6 chapters. So that's only going to prolong the length of this arc. Again, like last year, Oda said that last year was Sanji's year. We're in September of 2017, dude. Still on Whole Cake Island. Keep in mind, when it came to Dressrosa, as far as I understand, was not supposed to be that long. It was like 3+ years. It was like, dude,
it was 100 chapters even. It was the longest arc ever in One Piece. Yeah.
Crazy. So it's definitely, when they say, yeah, like One Piece is X amount of % done, or this arc's gonna be X. No. I'm not buying it, because you guys in the past have proven that you guys cannot match your timelines. You guys
remember the year of Kakashi?
That happened like a year after.
Sucks, chat.
But that's a.
But straight what Fornever was saying earlier, the editors are hype men. Their job is to make you excited for the future of the story. When they say some shit like it's halfway done, that means the rest of the half of the story is going to be, like within the next 30 chapters. So you're more interested in staying tuned because you think you're near the end. I don't know. I wouldn't buy any of this. To be honest,
I also think
look at the story.
You're looking into this like as if Wano has to happen in October when the event is happening. I don't think that's the case. I think Wano will probably be at the very end of December, because everyone seems to forget they already said in between Wano and where we are in the story now, we are getting Reverie. Exactly. Yeah. Reverie has to be at least 3 chapters. At the very least.
3. I was banking on like 5 to 10, but that was just me.
I would hope so. I mean, I want 5 to 10, but I don't necessarily think we're going to get that.
We don't get other story, like huge story revealing stuff about like either ancient weapon stuff or about like some moon stuff, moons plural stuff. Plural Oda. It's gonna stuff on that. No. Definitely we got problems here, because Oda, he has listen, we're in the new world. There are still so many things he has yet to develop fully. The Reverie should be one of the biggest times, because we have a gathering of people from all these different countries. What I don't want to see in the Reverie is, oh my God, you're Vivi. Oh, hi, I'm Viola. Hi, I'm Rebecca. We all know. No.
So, as I call it, it's the gathering of Luffy's harem.
Pretty much. It's like, no. I want to see like, these old ass men in like these spacesuits talking about like the moon and stuff. Like, that's where I need to. I need to see that. Oda, stop fronting
me.
See, I still feel it's much more likely the way they're hyping up Sabo right now. And I'm not trying to transition to the Sabo discussion. We'll have this a little bit later, but like the way that they are sort of hyping up Sabo right now with the 20th anniversary stuff, to me, that alludes to the revolutionaries having something to do with Reverie. And that, like, because we know only a few people know that Shirahoshi is the ancient weapon.
Yeah.
Caribou, Robin, and then King Neptune. King Neptune and all the people who are the royalty of Fishman Island are going to the Reverie. Shirahoshi is going to the Reverie. Robin worked with the revolutionaries, and Caribou, in his cover story, also worked within the revolutionaries, and now he's captured by X-Drake. It's probably somewhere in Wano country. So that is like the perfect transition to go from in between like Reverie to Wano. And I definitely think that the main conflict of Reverie, like I think the 2 main characters will probably follow will be like the harem group. So you've got like Vivi and Rebecca and all that. And then you also have like the Fujitora, the Marines group. Because if you remember, the whole big hype thing from Dressrosa was Fujitora saying, I'm going to abolish the Shichibukai system at Reverie. And I'm assuming if you're going to have to try to abolish the system, we'll probably have to see the other Marine. We'll probably have to see the other Admiral. We'll probably see Green Bull. And then if we end up getting the Green Bull reveal there, plus we end up seeing the revolutionaries, and then like what happens if the Marines don't abolish the system? Fujitora knows that like this can't continue on. Maybe Fujitora defects and goes to the revolutionaries. Who knows? Crazy theories today. Who knows?
Something else I just want to interject really quick. I was actually really concerned for Vivi's father, Cobra, because he's like, I want to ask the world nobles something. I'm like, oh, you better be freaking careful what you ask them, because you might not be walking out of Reverie alive if that's the case. I don't know.
I think he's gonna die there pretty much. He's
already pretty sick. I mean, that means Vivi's the queen. That's cool and everything. But I mean, yeah.
I really stuff that you guys are talking about seems like it'll take way more than just like a couple of chapters to.
I agree.
I hope it happens. Like, hey, if best case scenario, like 10 to 20. But you know, that's
exactly right. Because like I'm with Matthew. Because I don't think that there's any way the Reverie is going to be like 3 chapters. There's like, if it is, I'm going to be so disappointed. Like, like this is a chance for you to talk about some very crucial stuff. Like in the same, honestly, it should be in the same tier of Zou, where at the end of Zou, they're talking about the royal poneglyphs and talking about like One Piece. It's like we should be getting the same type of stuff, because Reverie is like what, like I feel like is it like once every year or something, or like once
no, it's once
every 4 years.
Every 4 years.
Every 4 years, yeah.
Right, every 4 years. So unless Oda goes
the
to
Olympics.
another time skip in the future, which
or an election,
this is going to be the one and only Reverie in the story. If we don't get a time skip in the future, so Oda better deliver on some very important intel. Otherwise, Reverie. I mean, honest to say, if that's the case, 3 chapters, the biggest disappointment in One Piece by far.
I honestly feel like it's a lose-lose situation. Because if it's 3 chapters, then we're not going to get enough of what we really needed to see. And if it's more than that, then that's too much time spent away from the strides. A lot of people.
You know what? I don't care about that. I'm okay with the I'm okay with that.
Thank you.
I'm just. We'd all be okay with being away. I mean, we'd all be okay with being away from the strides for a little bit. But like at the same time, they need to have Luffy in the story for the anime. Like that's the reason we don't see the cover stories animated anymore.
You don't think Sanji baking the cake is the most disappointing thing in One Piece?
I don't know, man. We gotta see it happen, right?
What are you talking about? They listen. If you can't beat them, feed them. You can't beat Big Mom. Feed her.
That's trash, King, bro. Come on, feeding her. Sanji needs to fight Katakuri if anything, but not feeding.
I want to see too. We're not talking about Katakuri. We're talking about Big Mom.
This is not a Brago stream. You're taking on Yonko right now, all right?
If Luffy and company can actually fight against Big Mom, then we got to question Oda and the Yonko scaling system, most definitely.
Yeah, that's a problem too. Like it'll just throw away like all credibility in terms of the power scaling of the series if that happens in this arc.
You can't beat him. Feed him. Feed her.
Once you beat the strongest, you are the strongest. It's too early. It's way too early. Blackbeard. I feel like it's got to be Luffy versus Blackbeard. Then Luffy's the strongest.
Especially like like looking back at all the previous arcs, like when Luffy takes out the big bad and defeats them. There's always been like some type of stake, like some type of like people that need freeing, people that need saving, like some type of like catalyst that sends like Luffy to fight the big bad, and that just gets you rooting for him to take him down like a tyrant or some type of evil dictator. Big Mom is crazy, but she's not like, I don't think she's at that level yet. So even from that perspective, it would be like, oh yeah, you beat her up, and then what?
I mean, that's the weird thing about Totland is that the people living there are not like oppressed or anything. They're actually really happy with living there, and they're aware of the whole taking your soul power thing. And I mean, they know it's not like she's doing it behind their back.
It's a fantasy land. It's a fantasy land.
Yeah, it is. It's like Candyland. Yeah.
You go over here, it's chocolate. You go over here, it's like jelly beans. Like it's a place where, like, if you really like are into kind of stuff, okay, cool. Like, you can live here happily, and then also you have all these different type of species that are walking around. So, like, let's say like the long necks or the Littlefoot clan, they're like ostracized somewhere, all right?
Yeah.
But and Big Mom's Totland, like,
and not only that, like she offers them protection. Like she offers them protection from the.
She does. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Totland isn't a bad place. For sure, like, you can say what you want about Big Mom. She's certainly crazy, whatever. But Totland itself, the place island that she's protecting for these people is a great place. And for
the way, though.
Well, it's not perfect.
No, it's
when she goes on a tirade and starts busting shit up.
Right, right. But that's her. And like when the Straw Hats in almost every single arc, they save an island. And so in this case, the danger to the islands of Big Mom's territory is Big Mom herself. So you almost have to resolve that. You have to fix it. And if you can't straight up beat her, then feed her.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. Or respect.
Or respect her.
Respect women, dog. I gotta tell you, dog. Like,
I respect you, Big Mom. Oh, okay. I'll go back to my castle now. Just get out of here.
Oh boy. All right. So I'm gonna move the topic because I think there's one big thing we should all still talk about that I didn't hear from Fornever World or Sawyer about, and we were talking about this earlier. And actually, King, I think you even came in a little too late for this too. Pedro, is he alive or is he dead?
I swear to God, if he's alive, I don't listen. He
pulled a Pell, man. He pulled a Pell.
Well, if he's alive, it's like a Pell 2.0.
Pell could take nukes because he's a Zoan, and Zoans have more like stamina.
That's still BS though. Like he should.
Exactly. Like
I'm betting he's alive.
This bomb was supposed to wipe out a city of like 1 million+ people, and then you're telling me that Pell survived? What? And then here we have Pedro. He has dynamite, and the explosion was actually bigger than I thought it was because like all we saw was like a little like line of dynamite or bombs or whatever, and it was so big to where even the Sunny Go got like propelled from the candy like wax hardening, which was kind of crazy. But the thing here is that Pedro, from a feat standpoint, number one, has not proven that he can tank that. And number two, he has no lifespan remaining. Like he's running low. Why keep him unless we can somehow like? My problem is that if we take what Chiffon says about the cake being so good to where Big Mom may forgive the whole thing, which I would detest, honestly.
Likewise,
that would be the only time Big Mom could like maybe give like Pedro some lifespan. But then even still, it's like right now he should be dead. If Oda did that because gotta appease this age group of my fans, then I'm done. Like I don't know what to say.
Now, like personally, I think that he's gonna be alive. But the thing is, like, because the way the arc is going right now, like this whole cake shit, I'm not a big fan of the cake thing. Sanji, let's bake a cake or whatever. Like, I think to set this arc off, if it's meaningful and it actually ties into everything, somebody catching a body would actually make us like, okay, yeah, the cake thing is kind of corny, but somebody died in the process. But it's not gonna be Pedro. I just don't see. I see it being another corny, like not ass pool, but like Pell thing. Well, I guess that's an ass pool. So yeah.
I got a question though. Like,
what?
If I got a question, like, regarding everything that has happened with Whole Cake Island, and like, because every time we've had a stake, Oda like kind of retracted it, even like with Sanji's bracelets and those sorts of events, right? Do you think that if Pell dies, does it like how does
Pedro.
the arc stack up?
Pedro.
I mean,
Pedro.
Yeah.
It's a lot of P words. I get it. Yes.
Yeah.
Respect the will of P.
No, respect the will of P.
The will of P. Yeah, but if he dies, does that elevate the arc for you, despite its flaws from the start?
That brings Pedro's little story arc, like kind of like his swan song, his last journey to kind of avenge Zeppo and the Nox pirates and everything like that. I think that would bring his story arc to a little conclusion. I'd be happy with that. Yeah.
So you think we're gonna see like a little thing in the cover story? We get like a cover story in the afterlife of Pedro and Zeppo looking down on the Straw Hats, being like, they're the ones who will bring on the dawn of the new.
That would be so cool.
I'm sort of drawn into how impactful a moment is. And so, besides like him dying or whatever, he's not necessarily a main cast character, but still I feel like it's really important for the story if it would happen and would lead to greater events in the future, just if only because the Straw Hats, aside from Luffy, haven't actually had someone that they care about die in front of them. And it leads into the snowball of like realizing that the Yonko are up here and you are the way the hell down here.
Hell's fine.
Wait, did you just say none of the Straw Hats aside from Luffy saw somebody die they care about right in front of them?
Oh, okay, I got you.
I'm just saying Nami just popped into my mind, but whatever.
And every
Brooke, his entire crew. Let's not forget Brooke.
Yeah, ignoring flashbacks.
What I think he means that he means in real time.
Right. I thought. Okay, I figured that's what you meant. Okay, yeah.
Also, shout outs to the 2,300 live viewers we have in here right now.
Word.
We get to 5,000 and Pedro stays dead.
There you go. We'll send this directly to Oda. We know that Greg is watching. Give this to Oda. He'll see our stream and he'll be like, oh, I guess I'm going to make sure that Pedro's actually...
Oda has, without a doubt, stumbled upon at least one of our videos at one point. So, yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Who's that guy who makes the anime community war videos, Infernape 1000 or whatever? What's his name? Where it was like Oda was giving an interview and he wrote like, all these weebs on YouTube, Roger and Sawyer and King, they're all trash.
Yeah, we are.
Yo, what do you think about the community? Like, what do you think about the community? Because I've been getting a lot of comments recently on my One Piece videos saying that, like, a lot of fans feel that because Naruto and Bleach and Fairy Tail have ended, a lot of fans have begun migrating over to the One Piece fandom, but they don't necessarily like are there just to, I guess, have constructive discussions. They're just there to sort of like hate on it and be cancerous. And I'm like, because they're like telling me like in the comment section, this fandom has become more cancerous. And like, yeah, it's become more cancerous, but it's because there's more people in it.
Right.
Like I remember, like back in the day, like there wasn't that many people.
Okay, I mean, we can deviate because like here's the thing, because I mean, if we're on that subject, because here's the thing, I've noticed that a lot of people nowadays they come into my comments and they're like, "Yo, like One Piece sucks, dog. Like One Piece, like why are you viewing this trash, King?
Yeah, really
One Piece sucks, dog." And I'm like, well, is there someone like aside from the usual like judge top 5 hashtag no evidence? Here's the thing.
Stop, hey, Sabo's Yonko level. Remember, hashtag Sabo is Yonko level.
Where's the anime fan come right now? Like, listen,
I thought that was obvious.
Listen.
My comment section is absolute cancer.
My thing is that like right now, when you look at like the bigger series that are out right now, I think like the second biggest selling manga aside from One Piece that it's shown in, I think is Haikyuu. That's a volleyball series. I believe so. And after
maybe,
that,
if not, it's in the top. It's in like the top 5.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So then like Boku no Hero Academia. Then you have the one Black Clover, which is getting an anime soon. But like from like the stage standpoint, I think most people who are like English speaking who read manga on a weekly basis, I think most of them are now migrating over towards One Piece because there really is nothing else. There really is nothing else that's
it's
like
grown though. Like it's
Boruto.
Grown. Haven't you seen like an increase?
Monthly, and like no one is talking about Boruto manga, like flat out. Like
it's not good. It's bad. It's bad.
I lost all passion for that universe a long time ago. I haven't really been.
It seems like the Naruto audience is migrating to My Hero Academia now. Like that's the next thing that I feel like Jump is really pushing, and just like the way they're setting the story up. Spoilers for anybody who doesn't read or watch My Hero Academia. I don't care.
Don't do it.
Like,
don't do it.
I'm not.
Not what I came here for.
I'm not going to give a big spoiler. All I'm going to say is that perfectly set up for them to do a quote-unquote Shippuden series of My Hero Academia. Like the first half is them going to school, and then the second half is when they're already pro heroes, right? Yeah. So, by the way, Fornever World is leaving real quick because he's going to reset his microphone. People know he's got the robot no me right now. He's gonna fix that. He's gonna hop back in.
Does he respect the robots though?
No, I don't know.
The women does not. The robot women. Does he respect the robot women?
To suggest otherwise is blasphemy.
He does.
Okay.
But like,
go ahead.
But for Boku no Hero, I think this is gonna be no spoilers, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's just that like for me, initially when people were getting into it, like it was like hype, like it was like whoa. But then now I'm seeing some folks kind of shift away from it. All right, and then why that is, I have my assumption, my theory on that. Because even when it comes to the manga, I've kind of shifted away from it.
What is your assumption?
Yeah.
I want to hear this actually, because this might have happened to me.
Because I don't want to have any spoilers though. That's the thing. Like I don't.
No. But just you can say it without spoiling. Because I think
something happened
from a general sense. The individual aspect of the series has kind of been lost now for the usual like group and the whole Nakama stuff. Like when you have that initially in like the first few arcs of Boku no Hero Academia, like the individual is clearly brought to the forefront because it follows that Western theme, the West theme actually, I should say, where it's more so the individual takes precedent.
That's how Naruto was. That's why a lot of people in the Western Hemisphere
not initially, Sawyer, not initially. All right. Because Naruto.
Well, after like, yeah, you're right. Like Shippuden was like definitely like a shift from like the beginnings, but it definitely was like it became very individualistic. Versus One Piece is like very communal based.
Because like, it had aspects of that, but the aspects weren't like brought to the forefront. Like they weren't like they were there, but then they were always superseded. Especially when you have like Kakashi saying like, the group over the individual, like you have to work as a team, and then you have Sasuke,
that's a straight up lie,
X, Y, and Z. I mean, like
that's a lie.
What?
Like that whole thing from like Kakashi saying like just the team members and stuff. That eventually in the series, like if you look at the behaviors from especially like Naruto and Sasuke, that becomes like it becomes like Kakashi preaching to like no one because it just doesn't substantiate anything because everybody like Naruto's putting Sasuke above everybody else. So it's really not about a group of people.
Shippuden was
what he wants.
Yeah.
So that mostly the entire plot of Naruto can get derailed if they just listen to Kakashi's advice, basically.
Right.
But the difference Academia, like what you're saying, I agree with it completely because I mean. I've done too many videos on that already. I don't need to go further. Like, you've seen him, Sawyer. I know you've seen him. I've seen your things too. Neji was right. End of story. Listen, all right. All right.
Fair enough.
When you have Boku no Hero Academia, one of the things that I really liked about it was that individual aspect that was clearly there during like the major arcs at the beginning of the series. Like it's brought to the forefront. You see with the competition mainly between Midoriya and Bakugo. But nowadays in the story, you don't really see that. It's kind of lost. And maybe they'll get back to it. But right now it's not there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are you saying, Yoko, the difference is what?
Yeah. The difference between like comparing Naruto with My Hero Academia is with Naruto, Kishimoto did not develop his side characters, whereas Horikoshi is dedicating entire chapters to his side characters and having them be
sometimes
in multiple chapters in a row. Yeah, it can be boring, but the thing that makes My Hero Academia blow up as a series, just watching the community, is the fact that there's so many characters, and once you get past like the introduction, like so many people have their own like characters that they enjoy within this entire huge cast.
That is one thing that I do love about My Hero Academia.
Yeah,
can't you make the same argument for One Piece right now, though? Because there's so many Zoro. No, I can, because there's so many people who are like, I want to get to Wano so I can see what's up with Zoro's eye or Zoro's family. I don't care about Big Mom. She's stupid. I want to see Kaido. Like, that exact same argument's going on in the One Piece community right now, and I think it's a mess. Go ahead.
No, but very quickly, the one thing that's very important to know at the beginning of One Piece compared to every other shonen that is out right now, at least compared to like the major ones that a lot of folks in the West read, is that from the very beginning, unlike Boku no Hero, unlike Naruto and etc., from the very beginning, the whole notion of camaraderie and nakama is there from Jump Street. Luffy tells you at the very beginning of the story, of the series, I can't cook, I can't swing a sword, I can't navigate, I can't do X, Y, and D. The only thing I can do is kick your ass. That's it. All right. Everything else will cover what I lack. So from the very beginning of the story, Luffy is setting the foundation of how the story will flow right then and there.
Who is brushing their teeth in the background? I gotta say, who is that brushing their teeth?
That is me using an air liquid duster shit on my keyboard. Just sorry, I'm good.
What the heck was going on? Oh man.
Checking OCD confirmed. Oh god, there's a spot.
Yeah.
Oh well, that's fine.
But let's
flip this back to One Piece real quick though, because I don't want to deviate too much, and I feel like there is still a lot to talk about. But the one thing I feel like we should sort of wrap up this. I don't even want to like call this an argument, because it's not really. I think we all love One Piece. We're in this call obviously talking about it, but it's like the big thing going on in the community right now that I have felt, and I brought this up on Brago's stream, is it seems like people wait every week for One Piece, thinking there's going to be some giant hype revelation every single chapter because we were spoiled during the wedding. And then when people wait the entire week for a chapter, they get to the chapter, and then you've got the people who already don't like One Piece saying, well, One Piece is trash, it's always been trash. And then you've got the people who really love it, who are YouTubers, who are the most vocal, saying, oh, this chapter isn't really good. You've got tons of people then in the chat saying, what are you talking about? It was a fantastic chapter. Why are you hating on One Piece right now? And the exact same point I brought up on Brago's stream, it is like there are so many people within the anime community. For as many great people as there are, there's just as many people, and we all know many of them. Some of them even make YouTube videos. Thankfully, they're not in this call right now, but like there are people within the anime community who just want to hype everything up. And if a chapter isn't 5 out of 5, then it's trash. I got to move on to the next thing. And I think we need to be able to critique the things that you love in order to sort of like further the discussion. Because if you don't, then like, how is Oda supposed to know what's working and what isn't working? How are we supposed to like chat as a community and discuss things if we all are just like, oh, the chapter was absolute garbage, or the chapter is the absolute best chapter of all time? There needs to be a middle ground, and I think there isn't that right now.
Because somebody was saying something similar to what I'm about to talk about earlier, in regards to with a lot of the series like Naruto and Bleach and all that, ending, a lot of people jumping onto the One Piece, whatever. Naruto and Bleach, the way they were structured, and I remember because, I lived this, I was reviewing it every week. It was almost every chapter, there was something, in a sense that was really big, right? It was always like, and they don't understand that with One Piece, it's not like that. One Piece is a slow build to an amazing, outstanding payoff, where Naruto and Bleach, a lot of the times it was like you got a really cool thing, and then next week you get a really cool thing, and then maybe you get a decent,
Kubo was really bad. Well, he was bad at that sometimes, where like every chapter would be like a shadowy figure emerges or a devastating attack lands.
The Shinigami sandal.
Yeah, man. Like Kubo was the master at that.
Well,
that cliff,
I also think it's because like
stuff.
Oda prioritizes the world building almost about like, above everything else. And people sometimes just get, and that's the thing, like this world is like literally immense. Like it's on another level. Like Naruto and Bleach, I'm assuming, Naruto, there was some world building there, but it wasn't that complex. Oda just spends a lot of time like structuring and establishing these different worlds and races. And that takes time. That takes time. and then people get impatient because, well, I mean, so I think it's also like it's our own fault for expecting like a lot. We expect it to be different at times than what it is, because we know it can be, and when it is, it's like amazing too. But we get used to, like, I think we're just like, a lot of us like are spoiled in that regard, because
well, I mean, I want to see Luffy go gear 4th and punch.
And I'm not gonna lie, like the breaks don't help either. Like that doesn't help either too.
Yo, where's my gear 5th? Come on.
Let's be fair though. Let's be fair. The thing here is that when you look at, I would say around the time a lot of folks are talking about, like the big three, Naruto and Bleach were nearing their end. In fact, Naruto was actually at like the last arc. So it's like the last arc, and then we expect these many things to happen. You start off with the Edo Tensei revive of all these epic characters, then you have Madara.
Yeah,
like,
you know what was going on in One Piece during that time? Like Fishman Island. And that was just torture. Exactly. That was torture week by week.
Exactly. And then during Bleach time, we were transitioning from the full bring to
no. That's another statement. That was garbage.
Now we got Quincy. We got Quincy Nazis now. That sounds cool in concept, but it really isn't.
So again, and then One Piece, because in all honesty, there was, from an American standpoint, from a West standpoint, it was the big three, but in actuality, it was just the big One Piece, where it would just continuously go on its trend. And yeah, the time scale was happening around that point in time too, because like the major thing that brought a lot of folks to One Piece, I would say, were the Enies Lobby arc, and then after that was Marine 4. Marine 4 was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And then after that, we have Fishman Island, was kind of like, ooh, like what is this? And then we have Punk Hazard, which is the first part of the new world. And then you think, okay, fine, like maybe it's something here, but then it's like still, ooh, like
See, I feel like a whole group of
there's a huge difference there.
It's full of oohs and ahs.
To me, I noticed a lot of people jump on the bandwagon during the whole Law, we're breaking the gear fight with Virgo. Like, it's strange to me. Virgo was just this one-off character who was working within the Doflamingo family, had full body armament hockey, was cool, but he is a character who, to this day, still has like a rabid fan base. People love talking about Virgo, want to see Virgo come back. And I do think a lot of that was attributed to his fight with Law and sort of the setup and the stuff with Sanji and even Caesar Clown. Like, Caesar Clown, for as goofy and dopey as he is, was still a funny villain to see week to week. And even though we still had the dragging on with characters running away and the stuff with the children, I think on the whole, Punk Hazard, because it was a short arc, had enough really hype moments, the setup of the alliance, seeing Luffy go in on Caesar Clown, where people were still at least interested, and they were looking forward to kind of like how we're looking forward to Wano right now. Those people were going, this is really cool, but I can't wait for Dressrosa. And now we're past Dressrosa, and people are going with this. It's like, oh, this is really cool. Katakuri's a beast, but like, let's move on to Wano.
Mm-hmm. This is the way that I feel about it. If everything is great, then nothing is great. I feel like a lot of shows, they flatline. It's like constant excitement. But with One Piece, what's nice about it is there's a lot of build up to leading to like epic moments. And so like, I'm fine with people critiquing One Piece. I think that there's a lot of things in One Piece that are deserving of critique. Specifically something like in this last chapter regarding Pedro and death in One Piece. I think that in itself is something that can be improved. But a lot of the story is focused on setup. And I think that a lot of people want to critique the setup, but they don't know where the setup is leading, which is going to lead into the things that make us love One Piece.
I mean, how many times really can we say with One Piece that the payoff was very, very disappointing? It's almost every time the payoff is like blows our socks off.
It really is usually. Like, I understand what you mean by like
the ending of Zoe was incredible with the elephant, slamming his trunk down and not killing, but wiping out one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing. Like, that's what I'm saying, because the payoff for that arc to me is finding out about the road poneglyphs, because you build the world. Yes. But a lot of people are like more into the whole Elephant and Jack situation. And so that's the thing. Like, you have to like understand that people think differently from you, and they don't value the same things you do. But for me, like the big payoff was like the road poneglyph, because like, holy crap.
Right,
like, I mean, that was amazing.
That was the big reveal for Zoe there.
Yeah, even with the twist, Raizo is safe. Like, I remember reading everybody's reviews and like watching the live reactions, and we were all like, "What?"
Yeah, exactly. Like I was just saying, But that reminds me of a friend of mine who I'm pretty sure you guys know him, Raimaku Joten. Joten told me before that One Piece is kind of like you have a build up to a certain hype moment. And then we go from that high moment, we plumb back down to the same build up to a high moment. It's a string of heightened moments throughout the entirety of the series. That's an old kind of structure.
I agree. Peaks.
Where he's going from high moment to high moment to high moment, and that's what we're essentially getting here. Like the buildup itself, because I think that when it comes to the buildup, Oda leaves sprinkles of very important things that may be for that immediate buildup or future buildup. But ultimately, he is building up towards one crazy thing or like a few crazy things, and then he dives back down again. And then we go to the next, crazy thing down the line. That's what Oda's kind of structured, and I do agree with that fully.
I mean, I'm gonna go with like what you said about the setup thing, because like coming off of like Marineford going into Fishman Island, I remember reading Fishman Island Weekly, and half the time I was just like, I'm not feeling this. Somebody coming right out of Marineford, Fishman Island was like the culmination from arc that happened in East Blue, like, oh, he's been building this up for years with the Fishmen and everything. But yeah, the final part of Fishman Island, when you get to the fight and you get the Straw Hats showing off their moves, and that was something else. It's like this is right after the time skip. The Straw Hats are super powerful, but they can't just wipe out all the enemies because then you wouldn't have much of an arc. So it seemed like a hard time if that's when you were going to get into One Piece. That's like a weird part to get into it right out of Marineford.
And that's where I got into it.
I started in Impel Down. That's when I started reading Weekly.
No, that's when I caught up, and I remember. I mean, honestly, Fishman Island didn't really bother me that much because. Coming off, well, I don't know how people are with One Piece, whatever. Me in particular, when I caught up with One Piece, I'm not gonna lie, I was the biggest tard ever. I was like, this is the greatest piece of literature of all time. Oh my god! And so me, like, I was just having a great time. And then, like, in retrospect, yeah, Fishman Island isn't the greatest, but if you still think about it, some of the things in it of like, it touched up on prejudice and racism and stuff like that.
It does. It does. Yeah. But in terms
the
of like the
fact of that arc was the best part of that arc for sure.
Yeah.
There were two.
Fisher Tiger and Koala. And the reason that was so good was because that was setting up the greater world building. Like, I think that's another issue with the Whole Cake Island arc is the ending of the arc is setting up a lot of world building that is only important for this arc. Whereas like the middle portion of the arc with the wedding and seeing Big News Morgans and, seeing Stussy and all these other characters, that was building up the greater world of One Piece. And that's the world building that's so exciting and that people want. And we haven't really been getting for the past 4 or 5 chapters. I don't necessarily think that a lot of people who are One Piece fans need fights every week, but they need at least something. And just like Sawyer was talking about with Zoe, it's like different people find different things interesting. You've got the stuff with Raizo, you've got the Road Poneglyph, you've got the Jack stuff. And this arc during the wedding, you had the stuff with the Big Mom flashback, you had the stuff with Katakuri, you had the stuff with, the Vinsmoke family, Sanji getting his moment. Exactly everything. And so I think that's one of the big issues people have right now. And even Fishman Island, I think like Fishman Island at least had some pretty cool moments despite, Hody being a terrible trash villain. On the whole, the flashback and some of the like ending moments of the arc was still really good. But sorry to like intrude, but what were you saying?
No, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, Hody was
glaring problems though.
Like Zoro could have just killed him there and no one would care.
But I think the issue is we haven't seen enough fights though.
Fishman has some glaring problems though, but not necessarily from the perspective of like the world that it builds or doesn't build. But also from the from the perspective of the main characters themselves, mainly Luffy, because I don't know if you know Otaku Assemble.
Yeah, that's old school, but yeah.
Damn.
Throwback. I remember him.
But he dropped one piece.
Yeah, man.
As far as I remember, he dropped One Piece after Fishman Island or during that arc.
Well, he
wasn't really a big. To be fair though, he wasn't really, from what I remember, he wasn't a big One Piece fan like that to begin with, though.
But what he said, I agree with wholeheartedly because I saw it too. Luffy as a character, I think, should have made some substantial change in his character when he went to when he came back from training. After he had trained with Rayleigh, because he had just seen Ace die and so on and so forth, like 2 years earlier. Like Luffy, he didn't change as a character. Like when you have moments in Punk Hazard where Zoro has to get Luffy in gear because he's messing around, it's like that shouldn't happen now.
To be fair, later on, we saw the development later on, like in the end of what was it? Oh shit! When they're running away from Fujitora and all them, and Luffy's like, "Nah, we're done running." So we did see it. It just happened a little bit later on because it was a particular moment.
But even in the Rose that had the birdcage, I mean, like people, how soon people are forgetting the birdcage when they're talking about how bad the end of this arc is? It's like, really? Do you forget the past like 10 minutes that Luffy had to spend on getting his hockey back, and then Gat's yelling, "You could do it, Luffy! Get your hockey back!" and holding back the birdcage. It was awful. At least like this arc. This arc we at least had like cool moments with seeing Zeus. Exactly, dude. I don't want any more Birdcage, please.
Yeah, and
if you bring Go Back, I never want to see.
Yeah, but like for Neverworld, but like you see how like it took Luffy like God knows how many years to actually, well, you know, like from our reading the series, but it took him until the end of Just Rosa to be like, okay, you know what, now we're serious. It's like, dog, you should have been serious the moment you came back from training.
Yeah, well,
you're absolutely right. But
this man had his cock out and he was just dicking around. It's like, what are you doing?
that was you're talking about when we first came back in the time skip and going into Fishman Island, right? Look at like right
into the Fishman Island, yeah.
Okay, so but look at Fishman Island. I know it's a little bit deviating, but Fishman Island as an arc, right? Yeah, in comparison to One Piece standards, absolutely is a low tier. But just take Fishman Island and compare it to a lot of other shonen. It's better than most shonen. You know what I'm saying? Like, it actually has some really deep meaning to it. The flashback is bar none fucking amazing. So, like, I mean, Fishman Island, yeah, in comparison to a lot of One Piece stuff, it's low tier, but it still shits on a bunch of other shonen.
You have to branch out to other shonen.
Wait, King, really are you saying that you would want Luffy to be more mature? Is that what you're saying?
Something, yes. I mean, if you want to get specific, what I want to see from Luffy was more so a greater sense of fortitude when it came to the seriousness of the world they live in. Because keep in mind, beforehand, even if we exclude Luffy, beforehand, we got the fear of the new world. Like, this is the place where Gecko Moria.
I know, yeah.
Out. Oh my God! And then the new world, and then you happen to the new world. So you see a sea of fire, and it's crazy. And then,
okay, so here's what
I think. Saying. It's like, okay,
to jump off what you're saying,
great, but it's like the people are scary, and the weather is kind of insane. But ultimately speaking, it does live up to the hype. And then Luffy, he should have been taking it a lot more serious. Like, Sawyer, I don't think that Zoro should have told Luffy and Punk Hazard to get together. That thing to me was a clear indication of Luffy still hasn't gone to the point. Yes, he wants to keep it simple. Maturity.
I mean,
but hold on.
Okay,
I agree.
How does Luffy mature though?
Let's compare Luffy as a shonen character. Let's compare Luffy to the others. Remember, we always gotta, as much as we look at One Piece as an incredible writing or whatever, it is a shonen series. And you compare, like, look at Goku. He's still, even fuck Super or whatever. Just, you know, let's go straight.
Terrible. Goku is not, I don't know.
Or look at Naruto. Like,
let me make you feel better. Okay. So what you're basically complaining about is expectation and impatience, because you think Luffy should be here, but he's not here yet. But the fact that Zoro straight up told him, as you said yourself, many years real time, but not many years in the story. The fact that Zoro actually told him within the story tells us as readers that he still hasn't figured it out. What Luffy learned from Ace's death was that he wasn't strong enough, not that he should take it seriously, but by Zoro saying it, tells us that he'll eventually get it.
I mean, that goes back to what Sawyer was saying, though. No, because Sawyer was saying earlier about how Zoro is sort of that. Sawyer, you were saying earlier in the stream that, like, basically that is why Zoro is here. He's sort of like the straight man to Luffy's goofy dude. Like, that's the reason that Zoro is in the story from the get-go. When we see him,
that dynamic.
I mean, it's the same thing. Like, it happened when he fought Usopp. Like, you know, it's like the weight of the crown. Like, this is how things are.
That was
like, it's kind of like a reminder. Like, it's a reminder.
I did these really. Go ahead. I mean, I did these really long, like, discussion videos on each one of the Straw Hats, and the thing that always comes up when I'm talking about Zoro and Luffy is that Zoro, usually, like, 90% of the time, he'll let Luffy do whatever, but it's just, like, there's times when you need to buckle down and you need to be captain, or there's times when you need to actually act. You have to act more mature than you are, and that's the dynamic between them.
Yeah,
this arc specifically Luffy has been better though.
Luffy has those moments. That's true. He has these moments where he does act mature, and Zoro does regulate him. But Roger, the problem here is that from the way you're going, it sounds as if like you want Zoro to be the character archetype for Luffy to be serious, when in fact he really shouldn't be. Those should grow with the character. Like, he has to slowly attain that. And when Joy Boy says, well, he didn't learn that when Ace died, it's like, dude, if you didn't learn that, at least some of that when Ace died, like, do you need like?
But
I think you misunderstand me, because I'm not arguing that he should not grow up a little bit. Like, I'm just saying that I think Luffy should never be like this battle-hardened, you know, he's not Guts, man. Like, he's
I
never.
agree with that.
Yo, Cole.
I don't read Berserk.
To finish my point here,
I'm not saying that. Like,
the thing that I was trying to say was that, and you know, Ace isn't part of Luffy's crew. Luffy was in no way responsible for what ended up happening to Ace. His personality didn't lead to that. It was Ace's own circumstances. So it's sort of separate. The only thing Luffy failed to do was be strong enough to save him. Luffy completely took Marineford seriously. So there's no lesson learned there. The main thing that I was trying to get to is that Oda is leading there. This goes back to impatience, that eventually Luffy will slowly acquire the tools necessary to be someone who can take on a Yonko and not put himself in fucked situations in which, that he can.
You always gotta remember too, and I always reference this in like my reviews and stuff.
Oh man, you got the robot no me going on again, buddy.
Can I tell you what Oda said though? Can I tell you what Oda said about
channeling Frankie.
Super! Listen,
my thing is this though,
guys.
It's like my thing is this though. Like, I can understand what you're saying, like fully, I do, but when I look at Luffy now, right, and then he had moments where, like, for example, right, when Jinbei talks to Luffy about the standing of the world after he left and when he was training with Rayleigh, and then he talks about Akainu and he talks about Blackbeard, he talks about when Akainu fought against Aokiji. He's not taking Blackbeard seriously, which is stunning. All right, we're talking about the guy who basically led to the whole Marineford War, and you're telling me that Luffy, he can just eat and not even care about that. And yeah, like, I understand, like, Luffy, still young. He's like 19 years old. He still has some growing, pangs to go through. But when we look at it from the perspective of, okay, well, if Zoro's there to regulate Luffy like 10% of the time, well, why not make it now a little bit less? Like, how about, like, let's say 5% of the time, where, like, okay, like, Luffy.
But that's why Jinbei is
like Luffy can still do his UFO like technique and like have some fun, but then when. I mean, I don't want to curse here, but when things are getting heavy, all right, when things are getting heavy, Luffy should be like, okay, go time. Like, it's time.
We saw that though. Like, he was telling Brook to tighten up. Like, he told Brook to do better.
But what Fornever said, we started to see that really at the end of Dressrosa when he's like, Fujitora, I'm staying right here and I'm fighting you.
Nah, it was before that. It was before then though.
Brago,
like, all right, Oda just talked about this. My bad. Oda just
Yoko, you
discussed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what Oda said, because this topic about Luffy's personality and Marineford, because of the alternate story, what if story that he drew about Sabo, he actually commented on this, and I'll bring it up. What he said was, regarding like having, because the Shueisha asked him if he could draw Luffy and Ace and Sabo together, since he drew that, and he said to them, such a world can't exist, considering all of them would want to be captain, and if it ever existed, Luffy's personality would be different from what he is now, since he would not meet the current Straw Hats. And to expand on that, it means if Luffy did not experience Marineford, his personality would be different, right? And from that, we can tell. And like, apart from that, also, like, Luffy has been serious. When he got onto the Denden Mushi with Blackbeard in Dressrosa, he was serious about that. And even with Fujitora, he has had his serious moments. And like, it's not that it's detracting from his personality, but when it comes to things that have impacted his life regarding the trauma of Marineford, he's pretty serious about that.
Yeah, if things were different, they wouldn't be the same. I get what you're saying.
Okay.
No, seriously, I do get what you're saying. Yeah, I didn't see that same thing. Oh, by the way, this is just a random aside, but Oda actually drew all of Ace's original pirate crew, like the Spade Pirates, like what they look like. It actually looked pretty sweet if you haven't seen it yet.
He actually just revealed in the latest One Piece magazine, too, that Ace used hockey for the first time after he got the invitation from the world government to become a Shichibukai. Because we never actually saw Ace use hockey because it wasn't
No. Didn't he use Conquerors when he was a kid against Blue Jam?
Well, Conquerors, that's true. Conquerors.
hockey.
Did you guys talk about Sabo's bounty yet?
No, so we're just about to, but real quick, before we get into that, because that is going to be like a half an hour long discussion, I guarantee it. Before we get into that, I really quickly want to read off some of these donation questions because you guys are firing them off. And like I said, please do not donate during this stream. This is not a normal stream. I'm not going to be able to read all of these, but there's a lot of them coming through. And some of these are pointed at some of you guys who are actually in the chat. So I wanted to call them out in particular and sort of ask you guys this. Also, really quickly, while we're sort of taking this little aside, there are 2,600 people watching this live right now and only 761 likes. I don't know what you guys are doing. Drop a like. Use the mouse. What do we got to use, King of Lightning? What do we do?
Hey,
the mouse.
T-shirts coming soon. T-shirts coming soon.
There you go. T-shirts coming soon. All right, so really quickly, let me read these off while you guys keep liking the stream. First one, oh man, I lost them. All right, first one comes in. This is from X Draken. This is the question. He just says, "Fornever senpai, I love you." So there you go. And then Draken actually donated. Draken donated again after that and said Dustin is part of the worst generation. That is not true, but Dustin is Buggy the Clown. We got another one from Elijah Whitfield who says it's so cool to see all the people that I'm subscribed to. But same question, why was everybody so mad when they saw Sabo's bounty? So let's actually use that to transition. Guys, why was everybody so mad that Sabo's bounty is 602 million? Isn't that a lot?
Because that extra 2 million adds
What is
nothing.
Katakuri's bounty? What is Katakuri's bounty?
Katakuri's bounty is 1 billion.
1 billion from, like, you know, I don't know. Me, the Revolutionary Army, it's hard to say because on one hand, I want to say, okay, well, they're not necessarily like a Yonko crew or whatever, but at the same time, it's the fucking Revolutionary Army.
Right,
you know what I'm
right,
saying?
the Revolutionary, right.
So, like, you know, they're up there, and he's what is he, second in command? You know,
he's the commander in chief. Well, no, yeah, he's like I forget if commander of chief.
Chief of staff.
Chief of staff. That's it. He's supposed to be the second right after Dragon. Yeah.
I'm thinking he's gonna be at Katakuri like 1 billion or something because again, Dragon is known around the world and stuff. So to see 600, I mean, it's a great bounty. It's higher than Ace, but and then on top of that, real quick. How did nobody know that he was alive if that bounty was out there?
Yeah.
Here's another thing I want to just bring up. Is that bounty reflect before or after he got?
Well, that's what we don't know, and that's a big problem. It seems like so. I mean, I guess you could say that it's like pre-Meta Metanomi, but the picture is almost identical to the one that Doflamingo used in Dressrosa to hunt him down.
Yeah,
like,
but he's always been wearing that damn top hat ever since he was a kid. I mean, I don't know if it's like that means that it's taken at the exact time or not.
Well, I think the only good explanation of this that I saw was on Twitter by Greg, who writes the columns for One Piece on OnePiece.com. And he had mentioned specifically in this long Twitter rant that he did that the main reason why Sabo's bounty is probably a little lower than it should be is due to the fact that they're trying to keep a low profile. But my argument for that is that they are the Revolutionary Army. Exactly. They're the #1 organization that's trying to go against the world government. And the world government,
be, like, if you look at it in like real world terms, they should be like ISIS or something.
Right, right.
Well, like the pirates.
I never thought I'd hear some shit like that.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, the whole thing is that
you can't unsay it now.
The pirates of the One Piece world, they're trying to like just do their own thing and just like burn towns down and like steal stuff. But the revolutionaries are actually directly trying to take out the world government. So it is weird that
straight up. Like,
he's done.
What?
Hey, we already got Abdullah and Jeet are there. I mean, Abdullah and Jeet are
they're
grand fleet, so there you go. That's right. No, but real quick.
Bro, I'm crying.
You gotta bring the pain.
Yo,
wait a second.
No, but straw hats help create ISIS, you know.
No. Yo, let's pull this back a little bit. Let's reel this in before we get ultra demonetized from hell. Let's pull this back.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
No, it doesn't. It's fine.
Just don't include it in the. Don't put a tag in for ISIS.
I won't put it in the. Oh my god! I like that you compared these characters to ISIS, and we jumped up by 200 viewers. So I don't know what that did. CNN got wind of the stream or something.
Yo, they're watching.
Breaking news. Big news.
Yo, man.
Big news, Morgan. Big news.
They're keeping tabs on Sawyer. Like, okay, we need some news.
Yo.
You know, They know they can't just put videos out on YouTube, so they're trying to latch on to the anime people here.
I'm sorry to say, Roger, but definitely when this video is done, you're gonna see that little yellow thing on your.
Oh yeah,
it's a wrap, fam.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay, but I mean, here's the thing though. I am not that surprised. Like I'm really not. Like from an expectation standpoint, I honestly thought that he was gonna be lower than $1 billion. Like that's what I thought from the beginning. And then when I found out that he was 600, I'm like, okay, yeah. I mean, maybe he should have been at like the 700s. I mean, the fact that Sparrow's fucking higher bounty than Sabo.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Oda definitely did that to troll people this week because it just happens to be during the One Piece magazine that he's hyped up for a month saying Sabo's bounty, and then he released a chapter and Paris Sparrow just bounces randomly. He's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm a pirate with over 700 million for my bounty." It's like, what? This Lickitung looking ugly double four anime looking.
He said it. He who shall not be named was named. Damn.
We can name drop Voldemort once in the chat. I felt that was appropriate.
I just sort of thunderclap in the distance, guys. I think we just started.
Hey, yo, this is
we got Sawyer. We got Sawyer here. He's Shanks. He's gonna stop the war, man. Don't worry.
Yo, incoming 5 videos that I made Roger do that.
By the way, Chris, what's up with all these judge top 5 comments in the thing I'm seeing here?
Oh God, please.
Oh, let's not even.
All right. Okay. Just checking.
So here's
I'm judging. Judging is fine.
Okay, man. All right, hold on.
In the stormy waters here.
Okay, so all right, so
wait, hold on. Before you go, like King, do you think it's a coincidence that like Oda literally had Big Mom take down Judge?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I
don't know, man. That's just kind of like sketchy. Like that's
I think Oda was like, like
you think
this
this guy's
lying? Listen, people either they're lying or they don't understand. They're misinterpreting. But I think Oda got the misinterpretations. Like, oh, okay, well, is it King who thinks that Judge or Thunderbolt? Like, really, bro? Okay, like, I see what you're doing there, Oda. Oda, at least like his 5th editor or like his 9th editor, they're watching my stuff. Listen, here's the thing, all right. So a year ago, I was in a live stream, the Grand Line Chronicles, with
Zoro Fanboy and George,
the George.
Yeah.
Huge. I can't curse, Roger. Damn it, man.
You can say F George. It's fine. You can say F George.
Well, no, I call him the Belgian bitch. That's
that works.
Listen, no offense to people of Belgium, but this guy he's a stain on your country's history. Just the fact he was born. But listen,
and you're doing this while George can't defend himself, man. Like when the stream goes another 2 hours and we get a little bit more lit, like when someone drops out, we'll throw George in here and he'll have a rebuttal.
Right? He knows that he's a bitch. Okay, like I don't have to. I don't have to go into great detail about that. But here's the thing, though. All right. So during this call, we talked about who our top 5 strongest characters were for One Piece, and at that time, I think differently now, but at that time, I said my top 5 characters were Shanks number 1, Kaido number 2, Blackman number 3, Dragon number 4, and Big Mom number 5. Now, I said while I was listing off the list that I stopped at after Blackman, I said, well, when it comes to Dragon, if we're going to look at Dragon from a power standpoint, specifically on his influence of the world, why can't we look at Sanji's father the same way? Along those lines, essentially. I never said that Judge was de facto top 5. I said when you look at the sphere of influence, because we didn't know who he was, we didn't know like what he looked like, but what we did know is that he could manipulate the Marines and the world government to where he can get where he can have bounty changes. He's the head of this assassin family and this royal organization. He had huge weight across the world where even Big Mom won a piece of Sanji's dad. So it's kind of like, okay, fine. So if Sanji's dad has this much influence to where he's affecting all these people, not only the world government, but also Yonko as well, then why can't we look at Sanji's dad in the same way we look at Dragon?
I gotta say, you were uniting the chat because the chat has 2,700 people in it right now, and literally everybody in the chat just wrote Judge top 6. Everybody at the exact same
Did you say that before or after the Sanji fight with Judge?
No. This was like last year. Like this was before we even saw his face.
Knew about him.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, like I was saying, like before we even saw his face, I was like, well, if Sanji's dad is able to manipulate the government and the Yonko and the way he's doing so, head of this assassin family and whatnot, then Judge's dad, then Sanji's dad may be OP as all hell. Like we just didn't know. I mean, later on, obviously, it was proven that not the case. No doubt.
I mean, like Judge, the whole goal of the German 66 is to rule the North Blue, right? That's their whole shtick. Yeah, if they actually did have that level of control, I would be with you, but they don't. Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say, like, if they actually did control the whole North Blue and they were this massive country, because I mean, Judge, he's a scientist. I know looks are deceiving, but he's, he knows all this stuff. He worked with Vegapunk. But I just don't think, I just don't think he's quite at that level after we figured out, what he really was and everything.
Well, I mean, we do have Vince Smoke Defender number one in the call with us, with Joy Boy. I mean, Joy Boy, I want to hear your thoughts on this because you've made so many videos on the Vince Smokes, and I feel like you genuinely believe that there's going to be a lot more stuff with them with the remainder of this arc. So I'm curious, like, what do you think Judge is going to have to do by the end of this arc? If you think Ichiji is coming back, do you think we're seeing anything from Judge?
So the theory that I made before all the events that took place with the forgiveness of Judge was that Ichiji, there was lots of details within the story that made me believe that Ichiji and Sanji would definitely have some sort of conflict. And then so Judge made his turn, and everybody and their mothers was like, okay, well now this is dead. And so the theory that I made at that time was that the only way for this to work, if Judge's turn is real, is that he has to be taken out. And then just like 2 chapters after that, man, the lightning bolt of God struck down and no longer popped by. And so my personal belief is that if Ichiji is going to be in conflict with Sanji and Judge's words are true, then Judge has to stay knocked the fuck out. Not the hell
That's
out.
fine. At this point, we brought up ISIS. You're fine. That's fine. We need Leo. Just go ahead.
I want a tally system. How many times?
My bad. I warned you
started,
bro.
I know. I started it, but still.
The most important thing is the first 15 minutes. So long as the first 15 minutes are Disney, then we're fine.
Well, I screwed us over still then. So.
Oh well,
but I mean, just to expand upon my thoughts, if you're actually looking to hear me, there seems to be a whole lot of setup with the Vince Smoke. Their powers, like we've seen their powers, but their powers haven't actually been explained. We know it's related to genetic modification, but we don't know what specific genetic modifications are actually given to the siblings. It just suggests that there's a lot more left to go. And then when you think about the cake, that Sanji making the cake, and if you relate it to Sanji's actual backstory involving, you don't make food for other people, given that you're a royal, it just fits so perfectly into the narrative of his past. It feels like to me. And so when you actually go through and look at the entire flashback, like what were the general messages that it conveyed, you really have 2 things: respect women, respect food. Respect food, and don't be a dick, essentially. And Ichiji still emphasizes all of those. So you could have this situation set up when Sanji makes the cake that they will not respect women, i.e. attack either Pudding or Reiju, to sort of add to the feelings of the moments, while Sanji potentially is baking cake, or shortly after or shortly before. And then you have this resolution between the ideologies of the brothers and Sanji. I just think it's.
I don't see attacking Reiju. If anything, Reiju stops Ichiji from attacking, and then Ichiji rebuttals, but I don't think he's gonna out of nowhere be like, "Come here, sister," and slap her across.
So the reason that I speculate that, it's not without reason, is that we have specific setup from the previous chapters that suggests that Reiju is afraid of earning her brother's ire. That if she helps out Sanji in the flashback, then her brothers will attack her. That's what she says straight up. And then even in the recent chapters, she sort of has this like realization of just how great Sanji is, and how despite all the things that her family has done to her or done to him, that he still has forgiven them. It's almost as though Reiju has learned something from him. And so if you're put in a situation, this is hypothetical, obviously, just a theory. If you're put in a situation where the Vince folks encounter Sanji while he's baking a cake or sometime around that time period, and the brothers decide that what Sanji is doing is messed up, and they've wanted to get at him previously, but they just couldn't because of what Judge has ordered, then you could have a situation where Reiju decides to side with Sanji. And we know for a fact that the Vince Smoke don't respect women. This was emphasized to us with Cosette.
Oh, yeah.
So then if she sides with Sanji, then she would just be another enemy. That's where I have see the Reiju situation. But I don't think that they would just like turn around and sucker punch her.
I mean, honestly, I would be kind of disappointed if they just wrap up all the Vinsmoke stuff this arc. I want that to be kind of like, I want that to show up again in the story, because we just found out a whole part about Sanji's past that we never even knew existed. And I was like, okay, well, that's all over and done with. Let's go on to the samurai country.
I mean, I just think it could be awesome. I don't think you should rule it out just based on the time frame that you perceive is left. I mean, going back to
fair enough.
Okay, but like when you also look at the history of what Judge talks about the Vinsmokes of the past,
German, yeah.
And then no, but like not even like his story of like when he was working with Vegapunk, but I forgot how many like the 300-year-old like in
that
like
thing.
whatever.
Yeah. Wasn't it like for 66 days? Right, they ruled the North Blue, and now they're trying to get it back. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, like that's what I really want to focus on too, because the German, from a scientific standpoint, they clearly they're abnormal from what we see in a lot of compared to a lot of nations, because what they're doing here with able to like levitate on like these weird sandals when it comes to clone modifications. I wonder how much of that was actually done by Judge. I wonder if there was something in the past. And I still believe that Brooke knows more. Like, Brooke hasn't said anything, but I think Brooke does know some things as well. But I think that they need to talk about that as well, because that may have ties to the Blank Century. Potentially.
I mean, you just brought up a really good point.
I can't say that it will, but potentially it could.
Right now in the arc, just where we are, just to stop you for a second, is right now where we are in the arc, I don't really see them filling in anything on like those 66 days or anything that happened with that. But if we do find out more about that and find out more about like the experiments and, what this whole bloodline theory or whatever it's called is, don't you think we'll probably see that when we eventually get to Vegapunk? Like, I think that's something
possibly,
they could potentially
they probably say
arc. Like, that's probably the one part of this story right now that's wrapping up that I think they could potentially save for later on within the story. And that's the perfect time to do it, is we know Smoker and Tashigi are on their way to go see Vegapunk right now, along with the children from Punk Hazard. So I feel like if we're going to get that at some point, it could maybe even happen in like those transition chapters between arcs. Maybe we'll, get a transition chapter after Wano and find out what Smoker and Tashigi are up to with Vegapunk.
I mean, it does kind of suck, because at the beginning of this arc, it was all about, like, it was the year of Sanji. It was like, oh, by the way, check out, Judge used to work with Vegapunk. We have an entire clone army ready to go. And there's like different types of clones or something. And then that kind of stuff just kind of dropped off when we were moving on to, Big Mom and Pudding and all that stuff. Yeah.
Now, you see, Joy Boy mentions these things, and I think to myself, hold on. So Chiffon right now is with Pudding and Sanji. So there's a chance that Beige, he doubles back, because I'm not too sure, but I think the German are with Beige. I could be wrong about that, but because I don't see where they went afterwards. Because if you don't see them, because like when we see them all after the cake falls, I mean the giant, the chateau after it falls down.
The chateau,
right? Yes. And then you have like Luffy, you have Beige, you have G-Man Company. We don't see the German, so my guess here is that the German they're inside Beige.
Hold on, let me go. Didn't we see them when Pudding picked up Chiffon? We didn't see them then, huh?
Right. So if they're inside Beige right now in this castle body, there's a chance where if Beige does double back to go and get his wife, and then let's say they see, they see Chiffon, they see Pudding, they see Sanji cooking the wedding cake. Out, then maybe you have Ichiji and company come out and be like, yo, like, what's going on here? And then they may talk about a few things when it pertains to the past. If Judge is still like, if he's knocked out still, then it's not gonna happen. But the Ichiji thing may happen during that time frame, so it may happen actually sooner than we think if we want to, if Joy Boy's right. But we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, Sawyer, you've been kind of quiet for a bit. Hold on, wait, time out. Sawyer, you've been kind of quiet for a bit. I want to know what you think about this stuff with Vegapunk.
I'm looking something up. So, because I just started thinking about like the whole Brooke thing. Brooke and Capone are from the West Blue, right?
Yes.
So
yeah, he grew up there. He was like a kingdom. He was a guard for a kingdom or something.
Right, and then so I was gonna make a connection, but that doesn't work. However, like if you look at the Vinsmokes are from the North Blue, right?
Yes.
So I'm looking at the wiki, and it says that Hawkins and Drake are also from the West Blue.
Yes.
So and they're in Wano. So I mean, I can just make that connection of them possibly exploring that later down the road. Again, I don't think there's too much pressure for this Vinsmoke plot line to be resolved in Whole Cake. I think because there's just, I don't think, and I know Joey Boy is saying like, well, it's because like we have like this expectation of where it should end, but I do think like that needs to be explored further down the road, because it's just, again, it goes back to the world building. It makes no sense for it to be neglected at this point.
Well, yeah, eventually.
And we got for sure. Vegapunk. We don't know what's happening with Caesar. Caesar might end up like, sticking around for a while. I think like the three of them must know each other. I think there's proof to that it like Caesar knows Judge and Judge knows Vegapunk.
I want to see a cover page featuring the wonderful misadventures of Caesar, and that eventually leads into like him arriving back at Vegapunk or something.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That would be a great cover story after the one we're in right now. Yeah.
I know, man. That would be great.
By the end of this arc, we need an update on ISIS.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, what I hear, the Straw Hats actually helped create ISIS. So, yeah.
Oh my God! In fact, the one who's reporting on all of it is fake news, Morgan.
When it comes to
he dead.
I love Morgan.
When it comes to Brook, though, I think that like Sawyer mentioned that he was he was part of a convoy for a certain kingdom.
Right.
Yeah.
It makes sense that he knows a lot of like places around the world.
Yes.
Yeah. And what I'm saying.
Oh,
so
ahead.
like when I was thinking,
wait, Cole, let him finish.
Oh, my bad. Go.
Yeah, my bad. What I was thinking is, even if we don't know the kingdom, we might have a chance of finding out more about it at the Reverie, since all the nations and all the kingdoms are meeting up there.
Going back to Brook for a moment, I do want to throw this in here as well, is that we don't actually know for sure that Brook is from the West Blue. We only know that he found Corgi in the West Blue. So it's possible that he could be from somewhere else when he was in this battle convoy, because it wasn't specifically stated that this battle convoy was in the West Blue. And it's also possible that he traveled a lot, despite it being relatively hard to travel. I just want to throw that.
I mean, like, that's a big deal traveling just from one sea to another in this story. It's like huge.
And then also,
I mean, even the stuff with the West Blue. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, well, Judge said that they weren't going to be part of the Reverie this year, and I'm assuming he said that because they were going to join Big Mom as an alliance. However, now that's no longer the case. So does that mean that now the Vince Smokes are going to enter the Reverie again this year, potentially? I'm not sure.
I think it's too early. I think it's too late for that at this point, because they would have to get all the way to the
teleporting device or something.
Right, but if Morgan's has the headline news of Big Mom fights against German X, Y, and Z and the other, which he will probably definitely do because he's, big news, fake news, Morgan's, then potentially speaking, whatever the world government would have the German as a category of, like, let's say a banned nation that could be removed, because like when you look at like let's say WAPO, like the Dark Drum Kingdom, they're gonna be in the Reverie. It's like, well, this is an evil nation, clearly an openly evil nation, and they're in the Reverie. So I think
is technically like very, very sketchy too. So it's not like their criteria for morale isn't the best.
Right,
that's fair.
That's always been what made One Piece interesting, though. It's like you have these characters who should be the antagonists, the pirates, and yet they're the protagonists of the story.
Yeah.
I don't know. I also, real quick, I want to shout this out just because he's been donating like crazy, and I think I should just at least call him out once because he's writing so many. I am getting so many donations from Pirate King Buggy, who is rewriting the lyrics to Jake Paul or Logan Paul, whatever that song is. Like, it's every day, bro, and he's writing the lyrics with like anime YouTubers, and it's just bizarre. So if you can go back and read those at some point, I don't know where you can ever read those. They're actually pretty funny. And I also wanted to shout out another donation we got from Tempest Mask 1000, who said, quick question, what do you guys think about Akainu? When you were talking about the Reverie, this guy donated about Akainu, and he said, do you think he has more abilities and powers than what was shown pre-time skip? What's going on with him? And since we're on the topic right now of like the greater world building, what is going on with Akainu?
Yes.
I mean, he and Aokiji fought on Punk Hazard, and they turned the island for several years afterwards into their various elements, which is not something that we saw do in Marineford. Yeah. So definitely. Plus, I mean, as an antagonist, he's supposed to be later in the story, so you would expect Oda to hold his punches, just so that a future fight would be more exciting. We haven't seen.
Yeah, because you think Luffy's gonna fight against him at some point, and it's
Do you think it's before or after Blackbeard? Because that's obviously a big debate. We're all here.
I don't think Luffy fights Akainu, though. I think Sabo fights Akainu.
Really?
Nah, no chance.
I mean, what better way to take him out than to use Ace's fire?
That's end of series stuff, though. Because we're talking about at that point in time, the One Piece should be found, at least either by Luffy or potentially theory-based Blackbeard. Yeah, right. So, I mean, whichever one happens, we'll have to wait and see. But, I mean, in honesty, if you look at what Whitebeard said, and there should be a war after the One Piece is found, the headline guy of that war should technically be Akainu because he's the only Marine or world government oriented person that is center stage against Luffy. I mean, the one exception would be Rob Lucci, but Rob Lucci ain't headlining anything really.
But Rob Lucci will probably end up seeing at the Reverie at some point if he's CP0. Like they're 100% going to be at the Reverie.
That would be sweet. Yeah. Apparently, also
that would maybe be a good time to set up.
Kaku are part of it too. Like it's going to be.
I mean, they could easily put in the canon manga the fight that we saw off screen in Film Gold with Sabo and Rob Lucci. They could easily put that in Reverie at some point if the Revolutionaries show up.
You think they're going to show up?
Yeah. Well, the last thing we got from the Revolutionaries was like they were gathering their like top members together or something.
And well, no, actually, even after that, when they got the newspaper saying Voltigo was destroyed.
Yeah, I don't think they show up at the Reverie. I think they make moves elsewhere, though. I think they make moves elsewhere, but not at the Reverie.
Team Blackbeard all day, every day.
They're aware of the fact that Shirahoshi is Poseidon, though. So don't you think they're not going to let the world government have her? I think they'll show up to try to like steal her back.
Maybe a few of them, but not.
We don't know who yet.
Yeah.
But
no, we don't know. That's true. We don't know who.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would highly suspect that. And like, as far as where the Revolutionaries could go, like we've spent now 200 chapters set up of the Revolutionaries doing something, and it just so happens to coincide with the Reverie. Come on now. Plus Stelly and Sabo, they're not going to get into that.
Yeah, they're going to have a confrontation, of course. Yeah. What's Stelly end up having?
I was always
like
thinking that they were going to force Vivi to marry a new husband or something. Like they were going to try to take over Alabasta. Where they're gonna force Vivi to marry a new husband. Maybe it could be. I don't know.
No, but Stelly's married already. Stelly's got Lady Antoinette or whatever. We saw her.
Lady Nantucket something.
Nantucket. Get it right, people. Nantucket. Come on now.
Dang. Man. All right. Well, then moving back to the conversation.
Moving back to Sabo and his bounty.
Then.
Yeah.
Well, no. We could. I mean, we have other. We want to talk about. I want to bring this back to Whole Cake Island still because I'm curious with all you guys here. Like, what are your predictions in terms of chapters? How much longer do you think we have, and what fights do you think are absolutely essential to the ending of this arc before we end up moving over to Reverie and to Wano Country?
I don't think we're getting any fights
in like mid-December, bro. I know. Sir's like, what, dude? Listen, mid-December.
We're not getting any fights, bro. I don't think the only fight maybe
fights, I think
Sanji, maybe
because they're not supposed to be focusing on fights. It's like they need to run because they can't handle the big bitch.
They can't handle it right now.
Actually, a lot of people in the chat are asking. A lot of people in the chat are asking Sawyer, "What's going on with Bobbin? Is Bobbin going to come back?"
Yo,
yes, he is.
Bobbin was a huge disappointment.
Bobbin will fix this, all right?
I'm trying to spoil you. I'm trying to. You just gotta listen.
Brago loves Bobbin.
I love Bobbin, bro. He's gonna come back.
You know what? When Bobbin was first introduced, I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be the most amazing swordsman. He's gonna fight Zoro. He's gonna be amazing.
Wait, you actually said that, dog? What?
Well, there were people predicting that he was the Sweet Commander. So I mean, I don't think that.
Well, he was one of the first people of the crew we saw.
Really
so it was like,
that was true.
Oh yeah, I've seen the theory videos that Bobbin is Commander Snack because he said the word snack in his first appearance.
No. The way you phrase that does not do justice to the theory. You have to ask
why. I've seen your video, Jordan. But come on, you gotta remember, man.
Come on. Why did Oda decide to make Bobbin associated with snacks? When we first see him, he's like, "Can I have a snack?" When we see him again with Sanji, he tries to nab Sanji snacks. Come on, there's something to that. Now, I'm not gonna say it's gonna
Killer and Bellamy or Vince Smokes. That's it. That's all I gotta say.
I never said that.
I'm not saying you. I'm making fun of myself.
Oh no! Crocodile's Luffy's mom.
Made a theory about that.
Yo. Yeah. But real talk though, as far as Bobbin is concerned, I don't care if he's Snack or not. If it really doesn't matter to me. All that I really feel certain of is that Oda is very careful about giving characters abilities and showing us these abilities. He doesn't give random characters abilities. Someone like Moscato, right? A random character does not have a devil fruit or any like unique abilities aside from having some sort of weird weapon. So when Bobbin is revealed to have hypnosis related powers, for sure, whether it be this arc or another arc, that Bobbin is going to use those because Oda just he never does that. And so when you actually think about it in context with the Whole Cake Island arc, it has some really obvious applications, such as the fact that Big Mom cannot be stopped. And so, like, even now, like the idea is to lure her into the middle of the sea when she's faster than you on Zeus and she's stronger than you and she can, you know, the Elbaf, you know, like whatever it's called. And so you need a way to nerf her. And if you can't fight her head on, maybe you put her to sleep. I'm just saying.
You don't think that's what Sanji's going to do there with his recipes?
We'll see. At that point, they have to lure her already. They have to like somehow get to that situation where it's possible to do something like that. So I'm not going to.
Yeah, she wants the cake though. Like that's all she wants at this point.
Yeah,
so.
I'm not going to rule out her eating the cake, right, and then falling asleep or something like that. Maybe that helps the strats in some way. But I'm just saying to get to that point in time, it seems to make a lot of sense to me for Bobbin to put her to sleep, and given what we know now, and definitely, you know, like he has hypnosis powers, so. It just like I feel like a lot of people dismiss it. We'll put it this
personally.
Way.
I
People
think
dismiss
it's awesome.
it. And I think you should keep it in mind as something that is very clearly set up that Bobbin will use his hypnosis powers. I'm just
for sure, and just like Pudding's memory powers were set up, and you know this kind of leads to something that I think people were alluding to in the beginning, where even if Sanji bakes the cake, like best case scenario, they're still going to have problems with Big Mom, just by the fact that Luffy said, "I will come at you once I defeat Kaido." Right. So you have to set up some type of conflict even after they leave.
Well, yeah, I don't think any of us, other than maybe Dustin, thinks that Big Mom is getting straight up defeated at the end of this arc.
I got facts, though. I got facts.
She's tanked everything this arc. I don't think.
Yeah, she's not going to be. Yeah, she's not going to be defeated. No way.
Wait, Dustin, they're trolling, right? Like, come on.
No,
he does think it.
After 20 years of the story, it's called versus 4 Yonko arc.
This is why we're Yonko and Dustin's a supernova. That's the difference.
Wait. So who's all the Yonko and who's the supernova?
I want y'all to rue the day when I'm around. I want y'all to remember it. Remember this.
Shit. Declaration. Here we go.
Declaration. I don't want nobody to be like.
Are you ringing the Ox bell? Let's go. Come on, ring the
bell,
yo. We are Mihawk and Dustin is Zoro right now. Look at that.
Hey.
That's right. You got the little knife. Yo, you mentioned Mihawk. I wanna bring this up because I realized we didn't talk about this yet, and this is like a big part of the One Piece fandom right now. Who here watched episode of East Blue?
I watched half of it. I
was gonna have Mihawk sweat for a second. I'm like, wait, excuse me.
I mean,
Sanji and Gin. Sanji and Gin was clean.
That was amazing.
That was really so dope.
It was sexy.
The thing is, it lacked emotion though. Like I didn't feel.
Okay, yeah, because Roger, you said that. Roger, you said that this was the best special.
Yeah, it lacked emotion. They were jumping through. They were jumping through.
I don't feel that way. I enjoyed it a lot. As someone who is a huge fan and rereads arcs, I think that it's not a replacement for the actual story, but you know, to sort of get to the heart, to the feelings, I really felt like it actually did that. I would change some things about it for sure. I would probably make it a little bit longer and add in more scenes. But I mean, I don't understand why you wouldn't like it.
No, it's better. I've already seen the original scenes. It's better.
It was the best.
Let me explain though. I'll explain. Well, you explained to Judge being top 5. Let me explain why I think that episode.
Oh my god!
All right, so listen.
Go for it.
Okay, here's the thing: is I feel like let me start this actually with something else that I'm sure all of us get asked all the time, which is how do I get my friends into One Piece? All of us are YouTubers. I'm sure this question has come up in all of our comments.
Nami's boobs.
And like. Yeah, okay, Nami's boobs is good, sure. But like, if you're trying to introduce a normal mainstream person to One Piece, there has never been a good answer. You could say, read the first 100 chapters, read up to Arlong Park. If you didn't like it, then fine. But like, for somebody,
how about ISIS? ISIS.
What? I would expect that from somebody else, not from you, Sawyer. I don't know. But to bring this back to the episode, it's like I feel like episode of East Blue is that one thing that we can now point to be like, watch this, get introduced to the characters, get the emotional beats that you need to, but at the end of the day, to flesh out the story, go read it on your own. I still think, like, in terms of a special, this was the best put together, especially if we're comparing this to something like Heart of Gold, which I enjoyed. Like, I'm not shitting on those, like, but like Heart of Gold, Nebulandia, sorry, We Disney, that just came out, but like Nebulandia, Heart of Gold, what were the other specials? Like, we had an episode of special? Like, this This literally
Nami special is better. I thought the Grundy world was pretty cool.
On the episode
like, the Grundy world one. What was that? Like
3D2Y was really good.
That one was
good.
3D2Y was good.
That was good.
Yeah.
You know, like when I was watching episode of East Blue, I liked it, but I don't think that it would be a great way to. Okay.
Yeah.
If you want to just get a feeling for One Piece and you know the characters and everything, yeah, it's good. But I'm watching it and they don't go linear like down the line of East Blue. They basically like, okay, here's everything Zoro does. So it's like Zoro from Shell Town, and then they just cut to the Baratier when he's fighting Mihawk. Yeah. So it doesn't go in the linear fashion. So it's like it's like a companion piece to somebody that's already watched East Blue, and you just want to see the journeys of these characters. But yeah, if you want to get just the general idea for the characters and everything, what they're all about, then yeah, watch it. I could just see how somebody watching it could be very confused. Like, wait, they're here. But wait, what's the Baratier? Who's Mihawk? You know, what is this crap?
Yeah. Well, so what I normally do when I want to get my friends to watch One Piece, is I introduce them to the Marineford arc, the Water 7 arc, which is Water 7 Enemies Lobby, which is my favorite. And so to give someone like this, I feel like occupies a good role because you've essentially already spoiled people to the story by if your next best alternative is Water 7. So you know, like it is meant to be that quick. You know, hook is essentially
after watching it. Do they go back and watch the anime, like the quality of the anime?
No. I think that's the point of this. Is that this is the supplement for the anime? They could watch the anime and then go back and actually read the manga like a normal human being.
I think you're
I
right.
like the anime.
I think they would be disappointed.
I review
getting people
like at the same time. I think that this this episode special does more justice for people that skipped East Blue, that got into the story like way down the line, and then, if you skipped East Blue, though, here's East Blue for you. You know, like I think that's better off as opposed to getting folks into the story. Like I think honestly, episode of Nami would do that better because episode Nami is just focused on one arc. It was great through and through. Yes. It was fluid as all hell. Yes. This one has too many issues. Like and the pacing, it honestly is the biggest one. It's irksome. Like I don't like how here you have Nami talking to Luffy in some random town, like, "Hey, I'm Nami, I'm a burglar," and all of a sudden,
it took. It was one scene. Like, it was one scene.
Yeah, it was.
It just went away.
I'm a thief. Then our ship is gone. Like, who the hell are these two random guys?
I think they cut down Nami's because there already was the episode of Nami, but then they included all the Arlong stuff. They didn't even have Logtown. That pissed me off. Actually, I wanted to see Logtown redone.
But they included the Sanji flashback that we saw 3 episodes ago too.
Yeah, they did.
They did,
and they still weren't very clear on what happened with Zeph's leg. They always have to dance around that in the anime.
I know. I hate that.
Wait, and didn't they also skip the Nyaban brothers?
Yeah, but who cares about them? Nobody.
They weren't in there.
Brothers.
Yeah, they skipped that.
But they were in an episode of Nami.
No. They were there. They were there.
The whole Merry-Go thing, which was shocking.
That's true, but there was a special for that already. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying though. It's like I think if you want to get someone to watch One Piece, here I'll give you one of the beginning arcs of One Piece reanimated and it's streamlined. Go. Watch this. If you like it, then watch the entire series. Boom. Yeah. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I think episode 9 does a better job of that. I mean, when it comes to getting people into the story, okay, maybe you want to give them this. I would recommend episode 9. But ultimately, from an overall special standpoint, I wouldn't say it's the best. I mean, I think honestly, 3D2Y beats the crap out of this one. Like easy.
But it's too spoilery.
Yeah, I think it's better.
Yeah, I just looked it up. They weren't in there. My bad.
Yeah, the Nyaban because Zoro did was like cut the branch. He didn't. That's all Zoro did in that. So yeah,
I don't know. We just got 2 donations, by the way. I'm gonna read this out. We got a $10 donation from some guy named. Also, please, people, stop donating. I really I cannot stress this enough because I know I've missed some. Stop donating. This is not a stream where you guys need to donate. But we got a donation from a guy named Smiley who said, "Roger, please give this to Sawyer." So Sawyer, I'm going to need your PayPal to send you $10 after the stream is over.
That's cool. Thank you. I appreciate it.
We have a $50 donation from me and Joy Boy's friend Pirate King Buggy, who says, "Why does Joy Boy like the Big Mom arc? Because it's overhyped, stressed out, boring, and very disappointing, just like his videos with the Lenny face." We got another donation.
Wait! I can't even defend myself.
Yo,
you can't. Hold on, I'm reading these out real quick. I'm reading them out real quick.
Right now. Is Pirate King? How come you come to my stream, dog? How can you come to
you want those $50, King?
He's also
By the way, I forgot. I should just mention this really quick. I was telling my boss today I was going to be here, and that she obviously knows nothing about YouTube. And when I said that there's this guy named Joy Boy, she's like, "That's a really creepy name." And I'm like, "Oh no!" I mean, in the context of the story,
I appreciate the support. No. Okay, wait. Quick aside before Roger goes back to reading those questions. The only reason that I chose the name Joy Boy was because I like the whole Ancient Kingdom and like Void Century stuff. But I didn't really consider the name itself as it would be viewed by somebody
because everybody else, reading One Piece knows what it is instantly. But describing it to my boss, she was thinking Joy Boy. Oh, and I'm like, oh right, that is.
I gotta say, your avatar does not help, Joy Boy.
Right.
You don't like you do the Alpha 2 Late 17 thing where you'll do a theory video, you won't put your face in it. You got like this creepy. Well, actually, he had Jotaro as his as his avatar, didn't he?
Yeah.
Man, R.I.P.
Yeah,
Alpha 2 Late 17. I missed that guy. But hashtag Gear 6 confirmed next art. But we got one more donation too from a guy named Buns who just said, "I'm just donating because Roger Senpai said not to donate." That's literally it. And see another. Hold on. Oh, I see Anime Fan Talks in the chat too. So we got
I can't even start, dude. I can't.
Man, all these shots, man. And why did I even come here?
That's why. No, I think because you got to take it. I think that's a good thing about this side of the anime community. I think we could all take criticism and jokes and realize no one's actually being super serious.
Chicken wang.
You got to take your punches.
We've all been at this for long enough. We should know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. There's one more.
How many times have we been told to drink bleach or read bleach? I think that happens pretty much weekly.
Dude, I read Bleach for 5 years.
Well, that's true. Yeah, you were up there with James. Yeah, shout out James Hansen.
Yeah. I was the Bleach guy for a long time.
He's your man's. You got to call him out, man. Is he even here? Is the robot still here?
I don't know.
He's clearly in the call.
Probably fell asleep.
When he probably did.
He's respecting women.
You get here. When he starts talking again, I'll have him mention James. But someone else is also saying bring in some pitch.
I remember when I started viewing Bleach, like during the Fullbring arc, they were just rant videos, man. I was like, yo,
man,
I'm tired of this.
Well, you guys have a history. I remember watching, like, not being part of YouTube, being in college and like watching the feud videos between you and Fornever and just laughing, being like, who are these idiots? Like talking about anime, having these fights with each other. And then and then I became friends with you guys and I realized like, oh, the crux of all of this was Bob himself. And then now we know the true reason why there was a giant
intense, bro. It's intense.
Yep.
It is intense. Man. See, Sawyer genuinely is Shanks because he just comes in, he stops the war, and then everything goes back to normal.
Just leaves.
Yeah, but like even still, but there are some things that even Sawyer can't calm down. Like when you have D4 getting Frank, it's like, dude, like what do you like? Stop! Like how? Yeah, how is 50 Frank talking about you, bro? Like it's cheeky.
We're not talking about that. Let's talk about Mad Muscle.
Let's rapid subject change immediately.
Talk about Arouge. What's going on with Arouge, you guys?
Okay.
Arouge. Well, he's a Blicken, so that means that he's Enaru's brother, obviously, and he's Mad D Monk. There you go. That's all you need to know about him.
He's a pretty buff dude, probably has like some
pretty buff. He's got a necklace. The necklace is cool.
If you ever play Pokemon, his Devil Fruit's probably like similar to Bide, the attack Bide from like the
Bide sucks, but he could use it. That's cool.
All right, next subject.
Yeah. Did you guys see the fight that they animated with Snack?
Yes.
Yeah. That was kind of garbage. I'm not gonna lie. That was kind of disappointing.
I like that they added it at least though, because there wasn't anything in the original.
It made him look really underwhelming. Like I thought, because Cracker just took him out almost immediately.
I understood it though, because it's right after fighting Snack.
Yeah, but then like they even with Snack, like we didn't get to see him. Like it's the whole silhouette. Well, granted, like you wouldn't reveal that in anime, but it was still kind of like, man, I kind of envisioned it a lot more epic.
It's like why not show
in the manga, like Brule saying like, yeah, this guy came in and took out one of us here, and it's like it was. He looked pretty cool. People jumped on the Rouge hype train after that.
It kind of gives me Oden wants to wait until he puts him back into the story and then reveal what happened.
I will say a lot of people really underestimated Arouge at first because he was had the lowest bounty out of all the supernovas. But you'd think 108 million. That the whole reason Oda did that was for the whole Buddhist thing that he was going for,
Well, I think he's the oldest as well, wasn't he? Like 40.
Isn't Capone? Capone is the oldest.
Capone. Well, he has more now, obviously, probably. Yeah, but
like Capone isn't Capone and Wapple? Aren't they both 28 or something? They're both really young.
Capone?
What?
Yeah. Capone is 40 something.
Oh, is he?
Definitely
20s or something. I remember reading that being like, what?
Wait a second. What? Capone? Come on now.
Yo, Capone is 40.
Capone is 40.
Capone is 40. He's 42. He's 42.
Wapple is 29. 29 after the time skip.
Yeah, well, he spent his whole childhood eating nothing.
Damn, he got ugly real fast.
Like cake and stuff, so there you go.
God, man, that would suck.
Wapple is 29? No way.
Oh, I'm 2 years away from that, man. I do not want to look like Wapple in 2 years.
Rouge is the oldest.
Yeah, he's 47.
But I'm trying to see what else is. Go ahead.
So this kind of like goes back to what we were talking about a long ass time ago. It feels like it's an hour ago. But Buggy was bringing up why I like Whole Cake Island as sort of a joke. I hope. You know, it kind of goes back to complaining about setup. I feel like this whole situation in Whole Cake Island, you know, even going back to something like Dressrosa, one thing that fans complained a lot about was the setup of the Grand Fleet. But we didn't know that the Grand Fleet was being set up. All we knew at the time for sure was that we were getting focused on characters that we didn't care about. And so in a way, it was handled poorly by Oda. It's something that you could actually critique. It's like, we're spending all this time for too many characters that we don't care about, and the fans are losing interest. So I
like Bartolomeo.
Yeah. And speaking to that point, Joe, but real quick, because I do want to mention that, like, so it brings up like one of the things that Roger was saying about like how are we permitted to criticize something on a week-to-week basis, not knowing what's going to happen? Because you know that's actually like a lot of we get a lot of scrutiny for that, because like literally we don't know what's going to happen. All we have is the chapter that we get on a week-by-week basis. And of course, I think a lot of what you're alluding to, and I don't know if this is where you're going, but it seems to me like you're going to have to decide at one point whether you trust Oda for the payoff or whether you don't. And that's going to inform your critique on each of the chapters that we get.
To be fair, I mean, no, wait, hold on. Let me cut in for a second. That is 100% my perspective. It's whether or not you believe in the story that you have been reading for 800 chapters or not. Because there are times, for sure, within One Piece, nearly every single arc, specifically in the middle of the arcs, that it gets slow. That it, from a week-to-week perspective, it becomes kind of hard to read. And it all depends on how much you are willing to invest in it and believe in it, that at the end, it's going to lead up into something that is GOAT. That's.
Wait, well, I feel like Fornever, what were you saying?
I mean, to be fair, okay, you know, that's something that
Robo.
I got so
much. It's okay. Just go with it. That's fine. You're just a robot today. It's fine. Keep going.
Also 3, baby.
Yeah, Frankie. Yeah. So like, I mean, at the end of the day, when we make our videos, don't people criticize what we have to say, whether they believe in us as a reviewer or not?
Oh, I mean, sure. I mean, every single time I comment on one of your guys' videos, I'll get someone else going, your videos are trash, why are you in the comments section? And then vice versa. I'll see, like, Joy Boy just recently, like, I that morning, I remember of the last chapter, I commented on Sawyer's review, and so many people were like, Roger, what are you doing here? Stay at your review. And then meanwhile, Joy Boy commented on my review, and people were like, Joy Boy, go back to your channel making garbage theories. And, like, that kind of thing happens every single week. And, like, vice versa. I could go on Joy Boy's channels and we're going to get hate. It's like there's this weird thing within the community where people are no longer even criticizing the chapters. They're criticizing the people criticizing the chapters, like the way that people are criticizing chapters, which is bizarre to me.
Yeah.
But it's fine. I mean, like, we're all okay with it, obviously, because we're doing this for a living for a lot of us, but it's still like,
pretty much.
I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah, no. And
it's the same as like fans.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Bad.
No, go.
It's like the same way.
No.
The same way that.
Okay. Pick number 1 through 10.
Don't do this.
Joy Boy, pick a number 1 through 10. Let's just do this.
7.
Too much pressure.
All right, Brago, say something.
Wait, I was gonna say though, like, you know, to be fair though, I feel like there's been like sometimes in this whole Cake Island arc that it has been underwhelming, like as far as like reading. But you know, so some people that
I mean, every arc has been underwhelming though.
Well, not
Except
really.
Marineford, that was pretty much high.
Go and Marineford are two that pretty much solid all the way through. But see, that goes back to something that Oda does as a storyteller, which is that like when he has these longer arcs, you're gonna have to drag the story at some point. Like Zoe, Marineford, these are shorter, contained arcs that are only about like 30, 40 chapters that go through all this information. They're told in like unique ways. Marineford, a lot of the story was told via fights. Zoe, a lot of the story was told via flashback. And then now when you have like these big epic arcs that he's setting up, I would not be surprised if 2 years from now, when we're like midway through the Wano arc, people are complaining about stuff going on in Wano. And then it's like, go back and look at those old Whole Cake Island videos where you guys were like, Wano's going to be hyped all the way through. It's like, no,
people
have
going to be disappointed by Wano.
Yeah, people have very short memories, and I think this is mostly told in when One Piece with like that popularity poll that came out, characters that were like everyone was like flapping their gums about like a year ago is like ranked really low now because it's like moving on constantly. Yeah.
I mean, this Morgan's was 32 in the one that I hosted, so. A lot of people still love Big Morgan.
People simultaneously complain about and praise the very same thing that happens in One Piece. Going back to the example in Dressrosa about the Grand Fleet, right? The part of that arc was spent setting up the future. Like, not all arcs are entirely self-contained. That portions of them become relevant in the future. And so if they're not relevant in the present, you wonder why that you are there. But then it's these very same elements of the story that in the moment you can complain about, that when you reach an arc such as Marineford is the reason why you are reading One Piece weekly. And that's just my perspective. And when it comes to like the Big Mom Pirates and why are we here right now, I think that we can almost guarantee, right? And unless you're Dustin, is that the arc is not going to conclude with the defeat of Big Mom, which means that we will see her again in another arc. Which means that a lot of what has been taking place here in Whole Cake Island has been setting up and establishing her crew, her character, and her crew's character, so that when we do see them again in another arc, that Oda doesn't have to go through this again. It's like an arc to get the Big Mom Pirates set up out of the way, so that when they are introduced and there's another organization potentially like Elbaf or Wano or wherever it might be, then you don't have to worry about that. Then you can focus on one character and you don't stretch out the pace.
That in the story.
Pushing into like, for example, because we're supposed to be, I don't know if I'm a robot or now, but
no, you're not.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
We're supposed to be going into Wano, right? You got to think of it in this perspective. And to me, in my mind, Kaido and his crew is way more massively stronger than Big Mom. And if Luffy and the crew couldn't take down Big Mom, then they're more than likely not going to be able to.
Yeah, one of my favorite scenes was whenever Big Mom was like, when they're talking about Kaido, and Big Mom's like, you won't be able to stand a chance against that thing.
That, exactly. So, like, if we couldn't,
I don't think Kaido's that much stronger.
What we see with Big Mom right now, we can also apply it to Kaido as well, because I think a lot of us are confident in saying that Luffy's not gonna take out Kaido. Like, there's no way.
It's
like,
not just Luffy.
You know what?
He jumped from the heavens and survived.
Hold on, wait a second. Even if it's Kaido, it's Law. I mean, it's Luffy. It's Law. It's Kid. It's Hawkins. It's I don't care if it's all the Supernova. They're not beating Kaido. All right. I mean, and then so in the future, when Luffy is ready to actually be on that level, then okay, fine. But we'll get the setup for Kaido's boys. We'll get the setup for Jack, for any other of crazy, like Zoans that Kaido has in his crew as well. And then later on in the story, they'll come back and then they'll have their real battle. Like,
wait, so you're saying that Kaido doesn't go down next arc?
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think
so. They don't have the strength. Did you see what Luffy did against Big Mom? And it was nothing.
Yo. This is exactly my point. What is the one thing that you can take away from Whole Cake Island? It's that a Yonko is an insurmountable force. That is what you should be thinking.
Much.
So then you get into Wano with that expectation, and it actually ends up happening. They can take down someone like Kaido. That's when you're like, oh my God, One Piece.
But
you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying here?
I'm like, oh my God,
it can be perceived as an ass pull.
What?
Yeah, like
all the forces
not
they're
to
gonna
invade
have.
this manga.
Oh my God!
Wait, hold on. So who here thinks that like Kaido's going down in Wano? And
I think he has to.
I personally think he does have to.
I think he has to.
Yeah,
like,
I actually agree. I think Kaido's gonna go.
But what would be a outcome in regard, or not an outcome, but a way of measures that would actually be, in a sense, like that is not an ass pull.
But look at Law's fruit.
Easy. I got easy. easy explanation. Here
An
we
alliance?
go.
Like there's
Easy explanation. We got an alliance with all the supernovas who we already know are going to be at Wano. They fight Kaido. They don't even come close to defeating him. They bring him to his knees. Something basic. It's not like, obviously he's not invincible, but it gets proven that he's no longer invincible. Or it comes out that his devil fruit has something to do with the invincibility. Whether he's a dragon or an Oni or whatever you believe, it has something to do with his devil fruit.
But he's damn near
Listen, wait, Tim, wait, time out, wait. There's one character, if it has something to do with his devil fruit, there's one character who we know has already swooped in at the end of a giant battle and killed somebody way above his power level, and that is Blackbeard. Blackbeard also has the strongest paramecia.
I'd accept that.
And Blackbeard, Blackbeard is the strongest paramecia and the strongest Logia fruit. When you take the character who's being hyped up as having the strongest zone in the series,
I love this.
All the supernovas bring this guy to his knees, and then finally Blackbeard comes in, swoops in last minute, uses his devil fruit to keep Kaido from being immortal, and then kills him and steals his devil fruit, and then he has all three of them combined. That is when you're looking at the final threat of the series.
I wasn't even thinking in that regard because, like, we were talking just the supernova. Where like, okay, you bring in
Blackbeard is all Roger. I hate you for hype. I hate you for hyping this up too much. This is gonna be.
But this is true because why was Blackbeard specifically called out along with all the other supernovas as members of the worst generation? That is because he is considered to be of that era. Exactly. So if all of them are going to be there, Blackbeard's got to be there too.
I love this.
I actually don't think Blackbeard shows up. Maybe Avalo Pizarro.
Now I'm gonna be disappointed Blackbeard don't show up.
Yeah, really. You know what's crazy? We haven't even really seen Blackbeard since the time skip. Like what he looks like.
We don't know what he looks like.
Well, that's the point. They're saving him for something like
Den Mushi. We saw the Den Mushi. Yeah, we saw the Den Mushi. He has like
So with the play here, the reason why Blackbeard and Algiz are teaming up is to take on. It's ultimately take the fruit from Kaido.
Exactly.
Well, they're not teaming up.
Makes sense.
I mean, like, okay, but Jesus Christ! But let's see,
basically weaken him enough to steal his fruit.
Wouldn't it be like maybe that would happen? Maybe because Kaido would technically have like I guess the strongest Zoan power. All right, maybe. But like my thing is, wouldn't that be a little bit like too early in this? In like for like let's say like. End of next year.
Story or?
Dude, hell no. Dude, we got no, absolutely not. We've got Wano's going to be at least another 2 years. We've got Reverie, and then obviously we still got to get through Whole Cake. The other big arcs that we have left, probably Elbaf. We're all in agreement. Elbaf's going to happen.
But from an in-story standpoint, I mean, from an in-story standpoint, not from like from our reading standpoint. Not our reading standpoint. From an in-story standpoint, we honestly have been through like what only like 2 islands or 3 islands in the new world so far, and then afterwards we go over to Wano Kuni afterwards, and then because Luffy they divert back to Wano Kuni obviously, but then you have at the end of Wano Kuni Blackbeard coming in there like it sounds crazy, like, it'll be some crazy shit going down, like, no doubt, but I feel like that'd be a little bit too early.
But I mean, if the editors, I know we can't obviously take everything the editors are saying. We have to take everything they're saying with a grain of salt. But still, like they were saying, 70% we're through. We're in the 4 Yonko saga right now. Like we're going through all of this stuff. The story is ramping up, and the point of this arc is to show that Luffy cannot kill a Yonko by himself, nor can any of the supernova. They need to be together, which is why they're literally setting it up where all the supernova are going to be there in Wano. And again, I don't think they're going to. They are definitely not going to be the ones to kill Kaido.
Is it going to be all
but I think they can weaken him enough for Blackbeard to swoop in, because who else can take out a Yonko than another Yonko? Which then gives them the perfect reason to go seek out Shanks, because we know now.
Now I just want to see Shanks show up and kill Kaido.
And like, let me just say this. I want to play with your theory a bit, right?
Go ahead.
Set it up that Blackbeard is coming through, but Blackbeard is coming through. Luffy and everyone, the Alliance is fighting Kaido. And then to stop Blackbeard coming through, have Shanks come in, stop Blackbeard, have them have their own fight, and then by the time Kaido is dealt with, let's say Shanks gets defeated or Shanks is captured or whatever, that sets up Luffy and Blackbeard, and it deals with Shanks as well.
I think Luffy and Blackbeard, though, like their final confrontation, and some people disagree with me on this, and a lot of people want to see them at the, during the Throne War or whatever, if we ever get that, like that point in the story. But I truly, genuinely believe the main confrontation with Blackbeard is going to happen before the confrontation with the world government. I think Luffy and Blackbeard are going to get at Raftel at the exact same time. Something's going to happen where, like, Blackbeard is obviously shellfish, and Luffy cares about his friends more than anything. And there's probably going to be some.
That's the way it's supposed to happen because so the war to get One Piece is the battle between Luffy and Blackbeard. But then that triggers the whole world war as Blackbeard predicted. So I mean, yeah, that order makes sense. I agree with that. I think.
Unless Oda wants to,
I think at some point that would also be like an explanation to sort of separate their character, because Blackbeard we know is very selfish. Luffy we know more than anything cares about his friends, and I think there might be something where both of the crews are there, on Raftel, maybe about to discover whatever the One Piece is, and there's a risk that both of them could lose their entire crew. And obviously, Luffy would not do that. Luffy wants to be the Pirate King, but the only thing that he cares about more than that are his friends. He's not going to let Nami, Sanji, Zoro, all his friends die at the cost of being Pirate King. But Blackbeard absolutely will. And that goes back to the original conversation they had back in Jaya talking about ideals, where then somehow Blackbeard will probably be like, ha, screw you, I'm going to be Pirate King, triggers some sort of trap, and maybe he gets, I don't know, water pours in and it floods the old city, or I don't know. I'm getting into crazy theories, but my point is Blackbeard would sacrifice his crew, and Luffy not, and that allows Luffy to find whatever One Piece is.
I also think that Blackbeard is not just because look at the way that Oda set him up. Like he's a D, so he's not a stereotypical villain. Also, I don't know if you guys saw the SBS where Oda drew the Shichibukai as kids. Yeah, there's a shot of him crying. There's a shot of him crying. So that alludes to him having a pretty difficult past, right? And growing up, I don't know how he grew up, but then in Impel Down, there's a pretty good quote where Luffy's trying to save Ace. And what would be the most stereotypical sort of villainous monologue that somebody would have in that situation? They would probably say, Luffy, you won't be able to save your brother no matter how much you try. Blackbeard actually says, you may be able to. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen here. So just in and of itself, I think Blackbeard is a very, once we get to him and his arc and whatever confrontation he has, he'll be revealed to be a very three-dimensional character. I don't think it'll be enough for us to feel empathy towards him, but there's definitely a lot of stuff that's been unexplored with him and his crew, and I think that's something to look forward to.
I also want to throw this in here as well, which is in order for Luffy, or we all assume once Luffy finds the One Piece, he'll become the Pirate King, right? How awkward would it feel if Luffy found the One Piece and was crowned the Pirate King without actually having announced himself as the strongest pirate and not having actually taken Blackbeard on? So then
once Blackbeard finds the One Piece, right? Based on what that is,
I don't see Luffy doing that.
That mantle may not come along with the title of find the One Piece, meaning that you can find the One Piece, but maybe not be the strongest pirate.
Right.
That's fine.
Yeah. Still, if Blackbeard finds it first and he averts his eyes towards the world government, couldn't Luffy's final confrontation be with Blackbeard and the world government, based on what the One Piece is? Because Blackbeard,
Blackbeard could totally swoop in. But that's my point, though, is I feel like there will be some type of Luffy versus Blackbeard fight at Raftel. And even if Blackbeard doesn't die there, something will halter him from getting whatever the One Piece is or finding out whatever it is, which then causes them to go to the world government, which then maybe Blackbeard comes back twofold with some crazy power and then swoops in the final war. I could see that happening, but I definitely think we're getting the whole Raftel Luffy Blackbeard confrontation before we even get to that final confrontation with the world government.
How do you guys feel about, on top of Luffy fighting Blackbeard, all the other Straw Hats fighting the members of this all happening at the same time, on Raftel?
The numbers add up.
I know that there's a whole notion where as this happens, there could be someone to do with Sabo and the world government, or no, the Dragon, the Rev go against the world government. They have their own thing as that happens, because the thing here is that if Oda wants to change up to where instead of happening where it's after the One Piece is found, it could be simultaneous, where as that goes down, you have the Rev making their move, and then you have the world government responding to that as well. But in all honesty, I mean, I just want to go back to Kaido because I don't.
Yeah, we're moving far away. Yeah, let's go back to Kaido for a bit. Go ahead.
Yeah, because to me, I see what you guys are saying. That'd be probably the craziest thing in One Piece if Blackbeard came in there and took Kaido's ability. But first and foremost, I know that Zoro, he's not here, but Zoro Fanboy had the theory of Kaido, of Marco being the target instead of someone like Kaido, because Marco has kind of something that's akin to recovering from all wounds, that kind of stuff. And we never see the full scope of Marco's powers and that kind of stuff. So the target could be Marco. Also, there's a possibility that, I think he's a Win Logia, but there could be Dragon and his Zoan's ability as well. Like we just don't know if Kaido has the strongest Zo win, but he probably has one of the top Zo wins because
I mean, the Beast Pirates are known for being a zone army. If anybody's going to have the most powerful zone in the series, it's going to be the guy in charge of the zone army. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But like, this is okay. See, this comes back to the whole power scaling thing. There are folks that tell me a lot of times that Dragon's numero uno and he has some kind of crazy zone ability. Yeah. Wouldn't Dragon be the top zone then? That's what I'm saying. Like, if Dragon is the strongest guy on the planet, according to a lot of people.
Well, he's the most wanted man on the planet.
Again. Well, actually, to clarify this more, to clarify this more, he's not the most wanted. I had a Twitter discussion with Theory too. He is the world's worst criminal, which could also be interpreted as likely to be the guy with the highest bounty. But as previously established in the story by Aokiji, highest bounty does not mean strongest. Bounty does not necessarily directly equal strength, although it is a good indication of strength.
I mean, it could have been that Dragon like slit somebody in the world government's neck. That's really important.
Yeah, I mean, he could have killed somebody. He definitely has history with Akainu for sure. Because when Luffy was at Marineford, like Sakasugi, like every time he would see Luffy, like, instead of calling him like Luffy or whatever or Straw Hat, he would just say Dragon Son, something like that. So there's something there between those two.
Wait, does that go to the whole notion of Dragon was formerly an admiral or something?
Or CP0?
Yeah,
I vote admiral. I like
I had the theory, like, look, the revolutionary army is very, like, obviously Dragon's the head of it, and he's been working at it for a while, but, I mean, the world government's been in control for, like, 800 years or some such. This is not the first revolutionary army that's popped up. I think this is something that's been around for a while now, and Dragon's just,
he's inherited.
He's inherited it from something. That could be the whole Will of D thing. But then, maybe not. It's not. I'm not saying it's a family thing, because then you have the issue with Garp and being because Garp's obviously, he's been a Marine since, he was a kid. Or since he was like, Luffy's age or whatever. But yeah, it's just something like he inherited a title from somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah, I think and it takes me back to when Garp was gonna beat the dog crap out of Akainu right there. That was
listen, like that's fake like anger because you could have stopped it.
Do you think Garp's ever gonna seriously have to fight Luffy?
I think by the end of it, Garp is going to cross that line.
I don't think he is. I don't think he's going to have.
No, he's not going to fight Luffy. I mean, look what he was about to do over Ace when he was about to. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that. I think he's going to cross the line where he's going to have to completely resign because even though. What is he still like? What is his role now?
He is trainer. He's like what was his title? Not General Inspector. That was Sengoku. He's he trains the new Marine. He's more of like just a trainer. Like,
he's gonna cross that line. He's not gonna be affiliated with them.
They're on their old people ship right now.
Like when I saw the video, there was a clip of like there's that video at Marineford when like Garp is about to like kill Akainu or whatever. And like it's like it says something like Sengoku. The title of the video is Sengoku stops Garp from attacking Akainu. And somebody in the comments section said like, dude, you should rename this video to say how Sengoku literally saved Akainu's life. Because it's true. I mean, the guy was tossing like the cannonballs that he was throwing back in Water 7. Like casual cannonballs, and then in the Donqing Jiao flashback, he was like splitting mountains or something. You remember that, King, right?
Yeah.
Like, remember how it was crazy?
Donqing Jiao cracking continents with his head.
Yeah, I mean, at that point within the story too, he was fighting Whitebeard. He was taking on, all these other characters. So yeah, he would be weakened.
Yeah,
I could see a weakened Akainu falling to Garp.
Yeah, that's the only reason. That's the only reason because he's weakened.
Right, exactly.
Master and everything. I'll tell you what. Right now, I want to see what happened with him and Dragon.
Garp is not gonna beat Akainu.
No, definitely not.
Because Akainu just got he got focused in on Whitebeard. Like in the anime, like Whitebeard goes like gear second. It's like, yo, it's after that, he could take him out.
I kind of took heads though. Took heads though.
Yeah. Tekking, what were you saying?
I was just saying I want to see a part about Garp's past involving Dragon and how that happened. Like growing up and stuff. That's
how crazy would it be if we see Dragon's mom before we see Luffy's mom?
You know what?
I wouldn't be.
That's something. Do. Yeah. But considering that we already know about Dragon and everything, I think that there's still people that think Luffy's mom's not relevant, like we're not going to see her. We're definitely going to see at least a flashback with her, like what was up with that.
Probably.
Yeah, so the way that I feel about this, right, is that there's some reason that Dragon became a revolutionary. Like he's not a pirate. There's a specific distinction there. He's attacking the world government. They are the wrong, the injustice of the world. So in order for political. So in order to justify this, you would need some sort of history between Dragon and the world government. What led him to this point? And I feel like there's two. I think these are the two best theories related to this. One is that Dragon was an admiral or CP0 or whatever you want to call it, saw sort of how bad the celestial dragons are and vows to change it because they just do shitty things on the reg. The other one is that they specifically did something that led to the death of Dragon's wife, Luffy's mother.
Or it could be that he found out about the Void Century and the actual history, and he's like, "Yo, this isn't the way." Like, no.
Yeah. And that's another one too. It would be interesting if Roger and Dragon had some sort of past. I mean, Dragon did visit Roger during his execution, which is kind of intriguing at the very least, because the other people that you see there are all pirates.
Yeah. You know what's also weird? The only Marine to have the Will of D is Garp, and I'm thinking, does Garp know anything about? Because why would he be part of the Marines?
Saul did.
Yeah, Saul did too. But here's the thing: Saul also went against the Marines. He was also like, "This is messed up," but he didn't actually know the history or anything because his whole family, his whole family didn't know about it and stuff.
So like you're saying, like there's something within these people that have the Will of D, which it drives them to somehow, some way go against the world government because they know that.
Because the whole point of the Will of D is carrying on this idea of going against the government, going against the God, like enemies of God, as Corazon put it. Right. And I'm thinking, it's weird that Garp would be a D and still be. He's like Saul was like not okay with Marines after a while. He was just like, this is weird what we're doing. Garp is like usually pretty dedicated to the cause, so much so that he was like, Luffy, Ace, you're gonna be Marines when you grow up. That's just what's gonna happen.
He's literally a government dog. Yeah. Like literally.
I see what you did there.
He was gonna flip, and if it wasn't for Sengoku, he would have been already. And maybe the second time around, when something happens where Garp can't hold it no more, he might actually flip and be on the same board as Saul.
I feel like it depends on your perspective on the evils of the world. Like, are you willing to accept some evil for the cause of defending the world against a greater evil, which is what I feel like Sengoku and Garp are actually doing. It's like we know that the celestial dragons, the rulers of the world, are shit. Like, we see this for sure, but with the order that we're establishing here, it makes the world still a better place. I feel like that's the mindset.
You're saying like the world government would be like, the world government would be a lesser of two evils, because if the revolutionaries or if the pirates took over, it would just be like mass anarchy or something. At least the world government's holding this stuff together.
Right. That's how I'd justify a mentality such as Sengoku, who's not a bad dude.
No, Sengoku's not. He's just trying to maintain order as he sees it, I guess.
Well, maybe not in the sense of like it would all create chaos, because there was a point in time before the nations were formed where like the world was fine, because remember that whole civilization that
fair enough. I'm just saying that
beforehand, it's just that
the world government
things have been the way they have been for 900 plus years with the world government ruling things.
I'm just saying that if the world government was overthrown by the revolutionaries or the pirates or whatever, for a while it would be just a free for all. It would be crazy, and yeah, it might level out at some point, but yeah.
I've got a question though when it pertains to all of this, like especially in the recent chapter with Pedro's speech. He specially says that Luffy and their crew are the ones that are going to lead the world to a new dawn. And with regards to Rayleigh as well, he said that perhaps him, like Roger's crew, and O'Hara as well, were too hasty when it came to the truths of the world. So what is that there's a connection between the new dawn and the history that exists, and why specifically are we waiting for the Straw Hats? If you get what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, that's what brings us back even to the most recent chapter with Pedro saying that they're going to usher in a new dawn. I think that probably has more to do with the discovery of Raftel than anything else. I think because I think Inuarashi and Nekomamushi, I mean, hasn't it already been told to us that like they know what One Piece is? It's kind of like Rayleigh, like they know what it is.
Well, they haven't. No. They weren't on the journey to Raftel itself. But they did travel with Roger. Yeah,
Rayleigh, Odin, and Roger are the only people that we know for sure.
Okay.
And then
don't forget Scopper. Do not forget Scopper.
Scopper Gaban, of course.
Yonko, remember that he was also terminally ill, so he couldn't act on, if he had to do something, he couldn't act on doing that because he had a very short lifespan left. So whatever he needed to do, he would leave for the next, Will of D person that found the One Piece, and he'd leave clues, however he do so. Like, for example, when they were Skypiea, there was the writing on the poneglyph that he etched in there by using his ability. So yeah, I think that's the reason why, Roger, he couldn't do it himself because, again, he was terminally ill.
Yeah.
Right, agreed. That's
Okay, that's
like
a-
Hara, like even if they know what it is.
Hey guys, I'm gonna have to get off now just because I have an early shift tomorrow. So it's been really great talking to you all. It's awesome that we got everybody in here. It was pretty sweet.
For sure.
Likewise.
But,
Cool, man.
yeah.
Likewise. This is
Hopefully we can maybe do this again sometime because this was pretty cool. All right.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time that everybody gathered up like this. I think this
I don't
is
think
like
it's
the only time
happened.
ever, so.
I don't recall
the
this in
first.
recent memory. Yeah. It's been nuts. But anyway, thanks for everyone showing up, I guess. See ya.
Attitude. Go subscribe to Tekking101, everybody. Go subscribe.
No, I'm good. I have enough. Go to other people. It's fine. I'm good. All right, later.
Go to Dustin.
Yeah, Dustin. Dustin's good.
Well, go to Brago. Go to Brago before Dustin. Let's be real.
I'm
Go
telling
to
you,
Dustin after you subscribe to Brago.
the foreshadowing is there, man. Dustin is Zoro. He's gonna rise to the ranks. I'm telling you.
There you
He's-
go.
Nah, he's just gonna get lost like Zara.
You can't be giving chapters 0 out of 5s, though. That's like, you cannot do that. Unless you genuinely think the chapters is 0 out of 5, in which case give it. But like 0, man, really?
I just didn't like the cake being baked. I didn't like that whole that
Dustin didn't see the cake getting baked, but the thought of it itself was worthy of a 0.
It's 0,
Right,
yeah.
yeah. I can't deal with this.
But this big woman, nah, 0. Like, I don't like it either. I'm not a fan of that either because I want Sanji to, not bake the cake for like a friend of mine said a while ago, like a year ago, like Sanji would bake a cake for Big Mom, and I was like, no, it's crazy. It's happening. I'm like, shit, goddamn it. But the fact of the matter is that how do you stop Big Mom? You can't. Like right now, she's just too powerful.
Yeah, at this point.
And that's the way. Like when I look at Big Mom now, and I think of her being weaker than Kaido, I'm thinking, okay, like even if you have like Capone, you have okay. First of all, Brago, you're wrong. Capone ain't going to walk.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to bring that up.
All right. Number 2, even if you have.
We don't know yet, though. Capone's going to come back into the story somehow.
Stop. With Capone.
It's not over.
No.
Let's see it play out.
You have.
Why, King? Why don't you want him in Wano?
He doesn't want to
Because I just don't see
reunion. He doesn't want...
it really makes no sense. The guy says, I don't want to see you guys again. I'm peacing out. We have a slew of Supernova that we have yet to touch upon.
Yeah.
We have Julie Bonnie, who God knows what's happening there.
But she showed
Hawkins
interest in
MIA
Supernova.
for God.
He's proud of them.
She did.
Hawkins
Yeah, she
MIA.
did.
Kill hasn't done anything. Eustace is in prison. Apparently, Apu betrayed, which is kind of crazy.
He's gonna
We have
flip again.
so many other things to focus on.
But King, you
Let
just said
alone
you don't
the
have
Shogun
enough
stuff,
to take
let alone the
Kaido out.
Kozuki clan stuff, and then let alone the Kaido stuff, and then you want to throw in
All
Capone
the
and
Supernova?
every other Supernova in the mix. Like, dude, chill. It's like, oh,
But they're already there.
Yeah, most of them are already there.
Most of them are
who's
already
on
there.
the Sky Island just chilling?
But he's already shown interest in Kaido, though.
He fell. The motherfucker just fell. When he fell. He just fell. He fell. Like,
Hello.
Hey, that's good theory.
Hey, Theory 2's in here. What's going on, Theory?
Oh, thanks for inviting me. My prayers were answered, man. I've been getting here all goddamn evening. I'll before I say anything else, everyone coming together for once rather than arguing about, the arc and stuff like that. Seeing everyone in this one stream is pretty epic. So keep it up, guys.
Hey,
You're part of it
thanks,
now.
Theory.
So, I mean, you're thinking
I think that's
yourself.
the
That seems
power
kind
of-
of selfish.
One Piece.
Theory 2 would do to high five himself.
Exactly.
But no, I wanted to come in and correct a couple of things as rude.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Like for example, just recently you talked about the people who went to Rafta. We know you didn't mention Crocus. Crocus went there. Earlier as well with Joy Boy, you said about we don't know what DNA was changed inside of the Vinsmoke children. We know it was the lineage factors, just like the Smile Fruits.
Yo. I meant like specific, like what animal, like what leads to the ability for Ichiji to like explode Katakuri, that sort of thing. Not specifically like relating to the.
that's probably because of their suits, because they couldn't do it.
And
The point is we don't know.
Well, we saw Niji do it as well. Niji punched Sanji, and he didn't have a suit on, and electricity came out.
Oh, you're right.
And
You're right.
Also, King Lightning earlier, you said as well that Judge and that lot might be inside Capone right now, but they're not. They're already back at their like place. They're there, Vince Smoke's nail boats, and they're already under attack.
Theory.
Well, no, I know that Germans are under attack, but I don't know.
Who went to go get the Vince Smokes? Because I know there was different squads that were formed to try and get them. So
isn't
because because like I'm trying to remember when we saw actual like Judge and Ichiji and them leave to go back to.
Well, we saw Judge's top 5 passed out, getting carried out of the party.
Like after Susan,
that's all we saw, bro. He's not top 5.
We didn't get to see
top
much of anything.
Top 6.
Oh my god, dude. He's top.
We lost track of them when Strusen cut the cake and everything just went to shit.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But like
the very last,
maybe they were like Capone. So
the very last thing that we saw from the Vince Smoke, as far as I'm aware, is Ichiji seeing Caesar flying away with Capone. I doubt he would have done that if Judge was in there. Just
no, because what I'm saying is that once they landed, they all meet. Like they had like a meeting of some sort. So like I didn't like. All I'm saying is that we never really saw where they went. I know that German was attacked, but because we never actually saw them there, I just assumed that maybe there's like Capone too, because Judge was recovering. And then the only cats that can really carry them, because Yonji and Niji and Judge are all out. So Reiju and Ichiji have to carry them back to German headquarters. As far as
I think that's really, really unlikely. I don't see the point in arguing it, just because we see everyone get out of Capone and they're not there. We also know that the people that came out of Capone were the people that stayed in Capone, and everyone who left Capone didn't go back in. We never saw that, so I really don't see any reason to argue it, to be honest with you. I mean,
I guess my question is like, what purpose would it serve if they were inside of Capone, narratively speaking? Like, what would that do for the story if they were inside of Capone?
No, the only thing I'm saying here is that would have been an opportunity for them to get ferried because they're wounded. They have a chance to get back to ferry to the German kingdom. That's all I'm saying. Because all I'm saying is that I didn't see where they went. Like they didn't show where they did, like where they went off to. Reiju, Yonji, and the whole German.
Yeah, it is surprising. Like when you consider that, like these guys are supposed to be, this is their territory. The cake just fell over, and if they didn't go inside Capone, how come they're not already caught? Do you know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Yeah, right. I mean, this might come back to like the lineage factor, DNA alteration. Also, probably the brothers weren't KO'd completely, like Judge. They didn't get a smack from
It also makes me wonder where the guests are. We only had two of them get any spotlight, which was Morgans and Stussy of CP0. The rest of the guests didn't really get any shine.
Yeah. Don't you think that's because of their greater connections to the world? Because I mean, Stussy's part of CP0, which obviously is playing a huge role in the story, and then Morgans runs the newspaper. And like, as much as we joke and meme about Big News Morgans, like that is actually a huge deal.
Yeah, it's massive.
To know that the world government is actually like running the news, which of course it would make sense considering like everything else that they're doing sort of cover up the history. But like, what does Morgans know? And like even the connection that he has to Germa, like how he would publish the comics that would basically show what cool Sentai villains they are. When in reality, it's like we see them. Sora was just like the wife of Judge. We don't know anything in regards to that story, but Morgans knows a lot more than he's leading on, which is like that hype is justified. I want to know more.
It's just more so that like I don't understand why Oda would introduce 6 individuals and then only give 2 of them any shine and kill one of them off as well. What happened to the other 3? You know, they have to have something.
Like, was he like something to do with like corpses or something? I forgot which one it was.
No, that was Drug Peklo. Peklo was the guy with the corpses.
Yeah,
mortician.
Yeah. Right, the mortician. Right.
Yeah. So going back to Big News Morgans, this is something I found really interesting. So give me a moment to like theorize here. But my whole the reason that I see him in this arc, you say they're just there to introduce the concept. I think that they specifically Stussy and Big News Morgans have more to play in the future, like specifically relating to their actions in Whole Cake Island, which is that Big News Morgans, it knows that the Tamate Bako exploded the castle and all the events that has happened, and he can report it to the news. And so I've always felt like since the beginning of this arc that the way to escape Big Mom's territory, especially after they feed her the cake and things of this nature, and you have Pudding with her memory manipulation powers, is that they're going to do something to make Big Mom friendly. like I know that's really controversial. People don't like the thought of that, but that there's a lot of tools in place that can make Big Mom less antagonistic from even her personality itself. But that she could be reintroduced as an enemy because of the way she's a child. Really, her personality is that of a child with news of what actually happened, and like if specifically if Pudding manipulates her memories, which I have no idea how she would use her ability otherwise to get them out of the situation, especially since they're going to feed her this cake. So that could be the way that could be important.
You said she has the personality of a child. She literally has the exact personality of the children that were experimented on in Punk Hazard, who were like, they were not quite giants, but they were being experimented on to become giants. And we already know Mother Carmel was trying to sell her into the, you know, I don't know. It's just, like that's the only problem I have with that theory is that like Mother Carmel was trying to sell her to the world government. So it was kind of weird that like if she was being experimented by them already, wouldn't they already have her?
Why give her back? You know?
I mean, I don't think that she's been experimented on. I think that the similarities between the children in Punk Hazard and Big Mom, which are very, very much there, is related to addiction. I think that Oda is sort of touching on that topic at least a little bit, where the children were addicted to this drug, this super addictive drug candy that they were being fed by Caesar. But Big Mom is addicted to sweets, and that's you know, in One Piece things are exaggerated. That you have the creation of the big bitch from this simple act of addiction. You also have this very weird mental condition that she has, where she like she's autistic almost as well, which sort of adds into this as well. But that's sort of the connection that I don't think that she's actually been experimented on.
It's weird that, like, for example, her parents, though, look at her, like, because I don't know if they're her real parents in that flashback, but the people that drop her off on Elbaf, they're not big, you know. She's an anomaly.
Right. So what I'm thinking is that like she could be the basis of the expectations afterwards. So when it comes to Caesar Clown and Vegapunk, they could have maybe used Big Mom as the forte. Like maybe there was some DNA, because if she did have normal parents and they are parents and they're normal, then she's a mutate. Then clearly some mutations happen. I don't know how exactly, but that could have been natural. Maybe we'll take it at face value. And then so if that's the case, then they could have, let's say, maybe gone some type of blood, or maybe because we have Mother Camel there in the government, they were clearly interested in Big Mom, so they could have gotten some intel on her and then try and emulate that with other children. So she's the foundation of future giant experimentations upon the world government.
What is your thoughts on, like, okay, I thought about this before when we were coming up to this Yonko saga, like with Kaido, you know, how he fell out with this guy and didn't get hurt and he's invincible or whatever. Now we see Big Mom, she's got similar traits, and then we also have Blackbeard, his body is anomalous, he has 2 fruits, for goodness sake. So what do you think to these top tiers having an unfair advantage in just natural birthright?
To a degree, yeah, because first of all, we're assuming that what Blackbeard has is like natural. I'm not too sure if it is natural. I would assume it's natural because he had it. Because I'm assuming that he had it previously, when like before he killed Satch. It could be a component of his double fruit. Maybe, I doubt that, but it could be the case. With Kaido's he's unnaturally large too. In fact, I think he's actually bigger than Big Mom. I think he is. I'm not too sure.
I think Kaido is. Yeah, I mean, look at his size. Yeah.
So there is the case here that they could be half giants, Big Mom and Kaido. Like, I mean, but I don't see, like, maybe those two adopted Big Mom when we saw him in the flashback.
Well, what's weird about that again is
it's weird. It's absolutely weird.
Introduced her as human, and Blackbeard as well. Marco said that his body is abnormal, and that's why he may get 2 fruits. It's just, I just don't think it's fair, because then we have Shanks, who's just a bloke that can get his arm ripped off by a Sea King. I don't understand how he stands among these giants.
I will say Big Mom was very. That was on purpose. I was going to say Big Mom was very lucky that none of the other children had devil fruits when she ate Mother Carmel, because if 2 of them had devil fruits, she would have been dead.
Yeah, she would die.
I mean, that's true.
But that's the only thing I can think of. Like, either like it's really like that, like some people are just born naturally in like freakish ways, or it's that maybe there was some experimentations. I don't think that there is a civilization at that point in time that could, let's say, do like any experimentations or tests in the womb, which I don't think is possible. Unless I don't think Oda would go that deep. Like, I don't think Oda would kind of do that, because that's kind of crazy. So either it's natural or someone was given by different powers.
He kind of did embryology with the Vinsmokes and the drugs that Sora was taking.
That's what I'm saying though. But like that was like how many years ago with Vinsmoke? I mean, like
yeah.
That was, no, wait, okay. With Sanji Company, that was I want to say like 30 some odd years ago. Because Sanji right now is 21. I don't know. Well, no, and they're all about the same time. But Vegapunk and Judge, they were working together. I want to say like 30 some odd years ago. Big Mom's like 60 some odd, right?
Something.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. So either you have a civilization that was potentially, all right, this is potentially the elongated head tribe. We're doing some stuff, all right, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? That's potentially. Because what the ancient civilization had 1,000 years ago, well, from their tech standpoint, assuming that they're the ones that also not only created the ancient weapons, but also potentially initiated the devil fruits into the world, which is its own separate theory, then that technology could have passed on to different tribes across the world, and then they have made certain technological advances. Like, for example, the place where Frankie's from with Vegapunk, they have all these robots and whatnot, and then they tend to be smarter on average. So there could be groups like that across the world, and then the parents that we see at Big Mom potentially could come from one of these places. Again, that's Oda trying to build the world up, but that could be the case. Absolutely. More likely than that being natural, because I don't see how that just could simply be regular mutations.
There's that whole thing with Law when we were at Punk Hazard as well, where he says in a trash translation, it says that they've been doing it for 500 years. But in the Viz, it says that for centuries, they've been doing the giant experimentations of the government, that is, because they want in on the giants, the strongest race.
Right.
So, you know, I guess, like you're saying, if the technology was that much more advanced back in the past and then we somehow lost it, they're picking up the scraps along the way. And Vegapunk's the front man on all of that.
Exactly.
So
that's exactly
to loop back,
I feel like
go ahead.
I feel like all of this giant talk has like left us with a big elephant in the room, which is Elbaf, and we haven't really discussed that.
Well, thank you for the transition. I was literally going to say, because I was going to say to loop back to the main story, let's talk about Elbaf and the giants. Because like right now, the big thing we know about Elbaf is that giant tree. And a lot of people are making their ideas and wondering what that tree is about. Do any of you guys think that's the Adam tree, which is like either the originator of the devil fruits, or like what's going on with that?
Probably not. No, I don't think it's a tree. Honestly, I think it's something bigger, way bigger.
I think it's a beanstalk, like Jack and the Beanstalk.
Yeah.
Oh, that fits thematically.
It's Giant Jack.
Also, and I mentioned this in one of my videos, but I think how like in Skypiea, it was mentioned that there's another way to get up there. Yeah. And that seems to like just.
But what's crazy to me is that means Bellamy managed to get to Elbaf and climb up it. You know.
Yeah, that's
Elbaf?
Or maybe he just waited at the knock-up stream for a long time and was like, "All right, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen," and then he just eventually went up.
Didn't he say he lost like all his crew?
Yeah, that would make sense if he did the knock-up stream.
Couldn't he just like spring his way up, like just
I mean, he's Bellamy, so I don't
that would be a top tier.
But no, yeah. So if that is the way, if Elbaf is the way, I just find it hard that Bellamy went there. I don't see that.
I mean, that would be a really cool way to then tie back like Eneru into the story, because I think we all think Eneru is coming back, and I think the tie-in to go back to the sky would maybe be the way for Eneru to come back, and that'd be cool. Like if Wano is the situation where you're getting all the supernovas coming together and all these big name characters, like Blackbeard comes in and swoops in, and we've got Kaido and all these fights. Elbaf would be a really good sort of like denouement arc, sort of like a resting arc before we get to Raftel and before we get to the final confrontation, with the world government, where maybe you have these other characters who wouldn't necessarily fit in with the Wano country story, who then come into play either through the sky, or like maybe we see Crocodile come back, or some of these other characters, they all maybe loop around with Elbaf.
I have a kind of a big problem with this whole, like, we have to go to Wano, then Elbaf, and then after that it has to be like Raftel and the world government, after that, surely. I don't think that, like, the crew in general can even achieve their dreams by that point. Like, I haven't seen Nami draw a map in forever. Like,
I think it's kind of implied that she'll draw it by the end of the series now.
But how?
Yeah.
I don't know, by
how will Robin
photographic memory. I don't know.
Well, something that maybe, I mean, the reason she doesn't draw it is because I hear a horrible echo right now. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what that was. All right. Oh, no, I'm hearing it now.
Oh no, it's
I think it's Sawyer.
Me?
Yeah.
Are you echoing?
How is it me? Yeah. Do I need to turn something off?
Try muting real quick.
You know, like you can
Testing
see in the voice comms.
Yeah,
where
okay,
when-
it was Sawyer. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what I was just going to say was that, like, if we loop back to Elbaf, we loop back to the story, and, like, exactly what you're saying in theory with, like, this does not necessarily have to be where the story is going. I agree. But I also think the story beats are there for these final couple arcs. Oh, see, now that goes back.
Yeah, I do agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, because we've already seen with, like, Inuarashi and Nekomamushi, that loop back where we basically see, like, they're saying you found out about the poneglyphs, you found about all this stuff before you were supposed to. And, like, when you get to Elp, or, like, the island of the Grand Line, which I'm assuming is Elbaf, when you get there, you're going to find out about all of this. And then that would, basically loop them back to the final confrontation. But I think Elbaf has to happen. And I think when Elbaf happens, too, we might get more information on what was going on with Big Mom, too.
I feel like also, just to, sorry to wind us back to Wano, but some of you guys were talking about whether Kaido goes down and stuff. If you don't think he goes down, what do you think happens to the Minks and Momo and the Samurai? Like, they're just going to fail and then go home? Where did it go?
Yeah, they don't have nowhere to return to. I think Zoro is on his last leg, literally.
Wait, the Minks?
Yeah, the Minks and the Samurai. Where does Momo go? Where does Kinemon go? Do they just get exiled from Wano because he can't beat the Shogun?
Well, they just make a ship within the Grand Fleet. Like, that's not a big deal.
No. But if we don't beat Kaido, how do we get Wano back?
No. You don't have to listen. Here's what I think. Honestly, let's not throw in Blackbeard right now, okay? Because whether that happens, I don't know. Because no, let's not get there. Here's the thing. I think that Kaido will ultimately leave. Because the Shogun is the one that they have to focus on most, as opposed to Kaido. I think it's the Shogun. The Shogun is the one who actually runs the country, who closed the borders and that kind of stuff. Kaido is like more so like the ultimate enforcer of the Shogun's rule, and like the Shogun gives Kaido like whatever he wants, like a place to stay, like if he wants some biddies, here's some biddies, whatever. Right? The Shogun's got it. All right. You go to Shogun if you want to respect women. It is what it is. So the thing is, after they take care of the Shogun, then they can reestablish a new order and new law into Wano Kuni. And Kaido may be pushed back, but ultimately Kaido will just go on his merry way and do whatever. But I mean, maybe he'll have some stuff in the underground world because Flamingo got ties there as well, and he wanted to have this whole war thing going on. Maybe there's a Blackbeard thing there. Again, I don't know, but I think that the Shogun here is going to be the primary focus. Kaido, but also the Shogun when it comes to the Wano country itself. So defeating Kaido isn't necessarily it is the big thing, but for the country's sake, it's the Shogun. So once that's taken care of, because ultimately I don't think Kaido would want to run a country like Flamingo would. Kaido doesn't seem to care about that. He just wants to have war and try and die. So, yeah, definitely, I would say the Shogun.
Well, so what do you think is the Shogun? Do you think he's going to have a devil fruit? Like, what do you think is going on with the Shogun?
He could have a devil fruit. He could be some crazy OP swordsman. I mean, he could be a swordsman of I want to say, maybe not Mihawk tier, but I'm pretty sure that there are some crazy swordsmen that you could say are, in my mind, in the gap between Admiral and Yonko. And maybe he's one of those people, or maybe he's Admiral level, who knows? But I would say he's a pretty powerful samurai.
He's hyped up. He's hyped up to be anyway, you know.
I think that's probably going to be Zoro's main fight during that arc.
It could be.
Yeah,
but
I think it pretty much has to.
I don't know, because if let's say, for example, King of Lightning is right, he's an admiral level dude and a swordsman at that in an island full of professional swordsmen. I don't see Zoro just going in and beating this man.
Well, I think that'll be the first real fight that he's had, because so far everything that Zoro's beaten, like Pika and Hody Jones and all these other characters, they're scrubs.
I know. It's not fair. Like Zoro's portrayal is so much better than those time skip.
It could be a team thing where you have samurai. So you have swordsmen. Like let's say you have Zoro, you have Law, you have Kinemon. They'll team up. I mean, because honestly, Kinemon and Kanjiro and Raizo, they would probably take part in that fight as well, because the Shogun was the one who. I think it's implied that they boiled Momo's father alive. Yeah, pretty sure. Yeah. So definitely they want to take part in that for revenge.
Zoro fanboys have a problem with that because Zoro would never have anyone help him in a fight. He would never do that.
Zoro.
No, but I mean, Zoro would be able to, I think, to take him on one-on-one, and even if if anybody else was going to help him, I think maybe the other samurai, because they would have a reason to help him because they're defending their country, and, like avenging.
Yeah, but someone be loyal, then someone to be loyal. Like it would depend, you know. Like I'm pretty sure a lot of the samurai are against their revolting, and then some of them are loyal to their shogun. They stay by his side. So,
I have a question as well. Like if we go to Wano, right, and let's say all of Kaido's crew is there along with all these samurai. Won't it be like a bit like how Whole Cake's been going, where there's going to be all these crazy people, but they just don't do anything, like Smoothie, for example? Like, how are we going to get to the Shogun without any of the calamities getting in our way?
I'm gonna direct this question to Sawyer because obviously, there you go. Okay, because he's been gone for a while and he was trying to fix his headphones. Yeah. So, what do you think of this whole Wano situation, and also what do you think of the story moving forward, and like who's going to fight who, and just your overall thoughts based on the last 10 minutes?
Oh, well, I mean, first of all, I definitely think it's going to be a long arc, for sure. It's not going to be, which goes back to why I think Reverie has to be a short arc, because Wano is going to be, this is where the stakes get, like, introduced to be very high ever since Dressrosa, because we're literally taking down, like, this tyrant, in a way, like this dictator, right? I don't know what kind of population like the Wano people are, or like whether they're okay with Kaido. I'm assuming they're not, just because if they want to open up the borders, and like Kinemon and Kanjiro literally left to find help to be able to do that. I'm assuming there's some type of like very sketchy, tyrannical abuse of power going on, which is exactly how like Luffy defeats, or that's how it sets up Luffy to defeat the main guys. We got 3 calamities. We know they're going to be there. We got a lot of supernovas. We also have Marco coming in, Nekomamushi, Inuarashi. I don't know. I already made a video about this, about Tsunisha, like possibly being the thing that they use to destroy the. I don't know. Like, to me, when somebody says like open up the borders, and I guess it's because of the whole like, you know, I guess last election cycle. Like I think like there has to be some type of a wall or barrier that needs to be like literally broken. You know what I mean?
First ISIS, now Trump. It's like,
maybe the Shogun is going to have the mythical zone Trump.
No. We go to Wano, and the Shogun goes, we have some bad hombres in our borders.
Yeah, Sawyer, what do you think is Weeble's role going to be in this upcoming arc?
Oh my god.
I don't even know. Do you think he's going to be in? That assumes that I'm assuming that you think he's going to be in Wano.
Yeah, if Marco's there and he's chasing after, you know, the remnants of the Whitebeard crew, I'd imagine he's going to be.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I think long term, I definitely think that he's going to be used as some type of example for Fujitora to get Akainu to agree to dismantle the entire Shichibukai system. I think that's old news. I think that system has to go. I think it hasn't been working. You know, it's been established, but it just hasn't been working. And I think Akainu is slowly but surely becoming aware of that, just because of like, look at all the problems we've had. Jinbei pretty much gave the world government, like the Marines, the finger. Crocodile was a tyrant. Doflamingo was a tyrant. Boa does whatever she wants. You know, all this. Blackbeard, I mean, he just went crazy. So I think because he's a Shichibukai, that's going to introduce a conflict for the entire legitimacy of the Shichibukai system that will be dismantled. I'm pretty sure, if not by Wano, but like, you know, pretty soon. I don't know who he. My question is, like, do we expect a lot of 1v1 fights? Because I don't think that's necessarily the case, because there's just so much people going to that place.
I do, for one reason, which is that Wano is going to be the first time in a very long time where the entire crew is together again and working against a common enemy. I think if we're ever going to get one-on-one fights, like real one-on-one fights for characters like Robin or Nami, it's probably going to happen during Wano.
I feel like you're in for disappointment, Roger.
I don't think so.
But I think everybody in Wano is too powerful for them.
Too strong. Like, is Sanji taking on like Jack or something?
I mean, I hate to bring this up. But like, Nami did just shock Big Mom and all of those homies.
And
like,
she He ate that.
Well, that's
And that's not even Nami's power.
Right, but I'm not comparing Big Mom. I'm not comparing Big Mom to Yonko. I'm not saying Nami's gonna shock Kaido.
Yeah.
I'm saying that like Nami could do some weird thing where like there's some weird disadvantage that one of the samurai have, and they end up fighting each other. Or like he's probably not going to put Nami against one of the legendary samurai of Wano, but like against maybe one of their wives who trains in, I don't know. You know what?
I think that's the problem, though. I think that's the problem because in order for people to get excited about fights, like you don't necessarily want to see the main character, like the Straw Hats, fighting fodder. And so, you know, it's kind of like, so you kind of have to decide whether you want them to get a fight with somebody who's like on their level, which means they have to necessarily be weaker than like the top tiers, or just to not have any fights like that are 1v1. Like maybe team ups or something like that.
I want to throw this in here as well. This is probably going to be an unpopular thought, but just to sort of discuss it, which is that Kaido specifically said that he wants to start a great war. And I think we can assume that this great war isn't going to, the plan isn't to have this great war in Wano. So if the Straw Hats go into Wano and defeat Kaido, then they would essentially be stopping this great war, quote unquote, before it actually happened. So I wonder if it's possible that we actually get the Kaido arc split into two pieces, where it might be Wano is a fight versus the Shogun and his forces, maybe a calamity or two, and then it will lead into another fight versus Kaido, sort of like in a different location, perhaps fighting the world government or another Yonko or something like that.
I like the idea. I think. Didn't you do a video on this, Joy Boy?
I do a video on everything. What haven't I?
But I like that idea where there's like the different seasonal islands of Wano. There's like the winter island, the summer island, the spring island, and the fall island. Because every time we've seen Wano, it's been of a different season. And I think that Oda maybe would want to play up the fact that like Japan, much like North America, is a very seasonal sort of country. And so maybe like the head of the winter island is one of the calamities. The head of the spring island is another one. The Shogun's on the main island. And then after all of those characters are taken down, then we end up having the fight with Kaido.
Well, another interesting thing to add to that is that you have Raizo of the Mist, and you have Shiruru of the Rain, I believe. And then, you know, you have Firefox, Kinemon. It's almost set up like Naruto in a sense, where you have different villages. Feels like to me.
Wait, who's Naruto? You talking about Boruto's dad?
wait. So, Joe Boy, I want to ask you, as far as the Great War thing, you don't think all the parties that's going to be involved in Wano, you don't think that's like necessary for a Great War?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I want to clarify. I have
especially if an admiral is going to be there.
But the way that I see it, right, is that Kaido has some great plan. Like even going back to the end of the Punk Hazard arc, you have Aokiji talking to Smoker and basically telling him that, you know, Dofi, you got to watch out for Dofi. Dofi obviously being, or not obviously, but he's sort of subordinate to Kaido. Then you have Kaido later on after the Dressrosa arc says, time to start a great war. It just, like, I feel like that this great war wouldn't be centered around Wano. It'd be like when you think of like a great war that we haven't seen in centuries, you think, okay, Yonko.
Do you think it might like refer to it being like the final war of
One Piece? I'm on that.
I think because I mean everybody's been hyping this up, and it seems like I mean Kaido, like if you look at it from a character standpoint, Kaido's just straight up bored. I mean, he's trying to commit suicide. Right. He just doesn't get hurt. He's just like bored.
It's even emphasized through Jack. It's even like they're reckless to the point to where they will put themselves in situations that you know, they might not necessarily have the best odds in. So something like Kaido alone attacking the world government. But, you know, even going back to the whole Caribou knows about Poseidon. Caribou was captured by Drake. Drake is now subordinate of Kaido. This whole thing, could, you know, like there's a lot of different directions this could go besides just, you know, straightforward Luffy.
Yeah, it'll definitely be like a rippling effect. Like it won't just like stay in Wano. It'll definitely have an effect like someplace else for sure. I agree with that.
I just feel like there's testament though to like Kaido's stats. Like obviously, I don't think he dies anytime soon. He's going to be here for the future story, but it's definitely possible. They said he can be defeated. We can defeat him in the arc. He can just go, oh, well done, and then go hard. He can go to his mom.
What I've seen,
wait, hold on. Let me go back for a second. Roger, did you say that there's several Wano Kunis? Am I
no. So different seasonal islands within Wano.
It's
So
like
you'd have,
Totland, like different
Totland.
islands and stuff.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
No, because the borders would be closed. I mean, that's the whole point of this arc is that they want to. Well, the next arc, is that they want to open the borders of Wano. And going back to something you were just mentioning, Sawyer, and not to jump off your point, King, but I just want to touch on this really quick. Is that X Drake is based on the Commodore that opened the borders of Japan to the rest of the world. Like that's literally the exact character that Oda's basing Drake on. Even in his name, everything about his design, everything about that character, Drake is going to play a really big role in the story of Wano, and whether that has to do with him maybe going down and going against Kaido at some point, and then bringing him over to the side of the Alliance, I don't really know. But I do think that Drake is going to have a big role to play. But King, I want you to talk, and then also Fornever, you were about to say something too about Kaido, and I wanted to hear that too.
No,
so you two talk.
The only thing I just wanted to say was because I don't recall where that was stated. I know that they have different areas in Wano Kuni itself that are dominated by certain clans, i.e. the Kozuki clan, but they're having a rough time. But I don't recall it ever being stated that they have Wano Kuni is Toland. That's where I'm kind of I thought it was one independent nation that was huge and had different areas of Wano Kuni that were massive. And then
they have different climates. They have different climates. It's Wano's one enormous island.
Not an archipelago.
King, just to address your point, we don't know. We're not at Wano yet. This is all based on speculation on things that we do know, some of which are stronger than others. I think a lot of which here is not as strong as it could be.
Okay, yeah.
Right, but even if you look at, it's based on Japan. So if you look at Japan, in the north of Japan, there's giant snowy mountains, and then there's tropical areas of Japan. I think playing up the different climates is something that he's going to want to do. And whether that's separate islands within a territory like Totland, or all on one giant piece of land that is all ruled by the different calamities, with sort of Kaido and the Shogun looking over them, who knows?
No, what I want to
speaking on the point.
Wait, hold on, wait, Yoko, Fornever, and then Yoko.
Yeah, no, what I wanted to say was with Kaido, because to me, he seems like he could potentially be one of the strongest in the entire One Piece world, just because you look at it going up, trying to get to Sky Island, people die and whatever. This man is jumping from there, and he's he gets up and he practically scratches his ass like nothing happened. So you got to think, if they take him down, well, obviously, of course, again, what we went beforehand, that it has to be Blackbeard and, all that stuff. It has to be crazy, whatever. But, them taking him down, wouldn't that, because something that I always thought about, and I don't know if it was brought up or if I even brought it up, but wouldn't that make, if Luffy was the main guy in charge, wouldn't that make him like a Yonko?
No, but this is what I was going to say.
Not if he does it with help.
It's not like he does it a 1v1. We've been told he's lost 7 times, got captured 18 times, even by the Yonko and the Admirals and stuff. They just can't kill him. We won't kill him. We can still defeat him. No, he's been defeated before.
Because I don't know. I just look at Kaido to me he feels very OP, but again, he can be defeated, but he just seems really OP because, again, jumping from the heaven, I don't know. I was that was one of the most impressive feats I've seen.
I'm with you though. This is just his base form. If he's a Zoan, imagine him going Zoan and then awakening and then Haki. It's just too much.
Yeah. Yo, in the anime, this guy yelled, and the shockwave just went through the entire island. Dude, what?
No, to be fair, excited for him. To be fair, in the anime, Cracker looked at the homies, and they all were knocked out as if it was Conqueror's Haki. So let's not take the anime.
Right? Yeah. No, it looks like it's Conqueror's Haki, de facto. What?
No, but I mean, that feat was impressive in the manga.
Yeah, it was. What were you gonna say, Yonko?
Yeah, when it comes to Kaido and his plan for a Great War, I feel like Oda's already foreshadowed something or set something up at the end of Dressrosa when we had the alliance with Luffy's alliance, right? When he exchanged Sakazuki, the story says that the alliance will cause a major incident in the One Piece world.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but that could be in game as well, Final War stuff. So
I think certain for sure. I think it's near the end because we're literally having these cover stories of them doing their own separate thing. So to have them in Wano, that just would be way too many people in one place. I feel at least,
especially if we had the whole crew there, because the whole point of not the whole point, but a big reason why a lot of those characters were introduced during Dressrosa is because half the crew was gone. So fights that would have normally happened with other members of the crew
went to Barto or
exactly. Bart, Cavendish, even like Sai got his own fight against Lao G. So I feel like,
I want to ask you guys about the legitimacy of Kaido's title as well. Clearly, you know, he's been stated by many, he's the strongest living creature. Fine, wonderful. But when we look at his stats, you know, he's lost to Yonko before, he's and stuff like that. But then when we look at the context of Big Mom and Whitebeard's crew, the Yonko captain himself seems to be far superior to the rest of their crew. So when people say, "Oh, well, he lost in a gang fight," you know, he got teamed up on, I just don't see how they would be any help versus him. So how can he still be the strongest when he keeps on losing all the time?
Well, I mean, let's be fair. I am a big, enormous Jack fanboy. I'm a huge Jack fan. Everybody knows this. Hashtag Mammoth Boys. It's my whole channel's thing. But I think that Jack is probably the weakest of the three calamities. I'm assuming we saw him first, and we were like, oh my God, look how powerful he is. But he's probably the weakest of all of them. And then the ones that we haven't seen are probably even stronger than him. And Jack has a bounty that's equivalent to Katakuri, who's the top commander of Big Mom. Now, again, bounties don't mean power, and that's going back to the whole thing we were talking about with Sabo. But I'm just saying maybe that is a tease of things to come in saying that, like, Big Mom, in terms of her actual crew, actually isn't that strong compared to Kaido. But one other thing I want to bring up, because I don't want to just say that, like, oh, Big Mom's crew isn't strong or whatever, is that if you look at her crew and the dynamics of her crew, they are not actually getting things done. Like, they all are trying to cover their own butts and not have Big Mom go after them. You had Opera saying, oh, I took out Luffy. Yeah, I mean, he's fine. Him and Nami burned in the cage. And then specifically lied, and now Opera got his life ripped away from him. You have characters like Moscato who, like, were stupid and tried stopping Big Mom, and Big Mom ripped the life out of him. You have Parasparrow lying to them saying, oh, yeah, like, they stole your cake, and then what's going to happen when she actually eats the cake that Sanji makes and she comes to? Maybe she doesn't remember that Parasparrow says that. Maybe she does. And then she's like, oh, yeah, you lied to me, and then rips his life away. There's a lot of other things going on with the crew's dynamics, which is like why their crew is just straight up dysfunctional compared to
that's a result of Big Mom's leadership, though. Like, she
right.
And that's,
but it's just like when you look at, like, for example, the Marineford War, Kaido was like, I'm going to go fight Whitebeard. No one's going to stop me. Then Shanks shows up and he's like, you know?
Well, Big Mom crew don't got loyalty and royalty in their DNA.
Shanks intercepted him. Was like, wait, chill, hold on. Let's just give me a few minutes. I'll be right back, Kaido. Right?
I want to come into this one. I want to come into this one for a second. So, Theory, your question was how exactly is he the strongest creature when he's defeating a lot? I think it's set up, first of all, that he puts himself in no-win situations, and they can't kill him. But there's a lot of Devil Fruit abilities out there that could potentially incapacitate someone who still you cannot defeat, like defeat in the normal sense. Like even something like Bonnie's fruit touching Kaido, and then all of a sudden he's a baby, or something like that. Or you can, with all these various Devil Fruit abilities that we see in Whole Cake Island, all of them going at Kaido at once in a theoretical fight, you would find a way, Bob in hypnosis, whatever it might be, to stop him.
Could you imagine how useful Foxy would have? Could you imagine how useful Foxy would have been during this arc? He just slows down Big Mom. It gives him 30 seconds to run away.
I mean, if you go back to, like, okay, for example, to compare, right? Because Kaido, he's taking L's or whatever. Just take, in a real world perspective, Floyd Mayweather, right? Incredible boxer, whatever, right? Now, imagine, and I know this is probably a little far-fetched, but just imagine this. He's in a room, trapped in a room, and, let's just say a midget comes up to him. He can kick a midget's ass, right? Now, imagine an endless vortex of just, like, millions of midgets keep coming in this room and attacking him. Eventually, they're going to...
midgets.
They're gonna take down Floyd Mayweather. Am I right?
We need a meme for this.
Somebody draw this and I'll make it.
Here's my problem. Here's my problem for Never, like, because I brought this up. There's an example I try to use to help define his title, which I brought up in other streams before. Is that, like, if you had, like, an arena, and this is just random characters, by the way, no one specific, and you got one person, they've got crazy magic powers, they're really strong, right? And the other person, he's really weak, but he just can't die, and it's a death match. You can't leave this arena until one of you is dead. Who do you bet on? You bet on the weak guy that's invincible because he can't die, and the other guy will eventually die, surely. But of course, Kaido is also strong on top of being invincible. I just feel like he's the strongest because nobody can kill him, but he can still lose.
But also, it could be the case where Kaido purposely gets himself captured or killed.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah.
I mean, he wants to die.
Exactly, he wants to die.
Turn himself into the Marines to see if they can kill him.
But see, here's where things that I think get a little bit complicated. And if he wants to die, he's a Devil user, we'd assume. Just go in the water and drown yourself. However, if that doesn't work, then he could be like massively abnormal to where, because I don't see him being a fishman like Jack is.
I mean, this has been brought up before, the Sea King Dragon theory, like that he's a Sea King. Because the whole thing, there was the egg on the back of the Oro Jackson that we know nothing about. There's this egg that was there during the Ed War that is never seen again, but it's on all the models for his ship, all this stuff. There was a fight for something to do with that egg. So there's a big egg that plays an important role with the story and Gold Roger's crew. That egg could have been the egg of a Sea King, could have been the egg of a dragon, was then stolen, and then maybe Roger entrusted that egg to Lord Odin, which is how the egg shows up in Wano. Basically, the egg comes alive, and the quote-unquote tragic backstory of like whatever hatches out of the egg, be it a Sea King or a dragon or whatever, is that it was stolen from its family, and that basically that's why he took revenge on Odin. Like, you stole me from my territory, I'm going to take your territory from you. And that gives Kaido the backstory that we need, where that Kaido isn't a person. Kaido is actually like a beast, like you mentioned, like a dragon or a Sea King or something abnormal that could actually like live underwater. And that's why like jumping in the water wouldn't kill him, it would just halfway incapacitate him, like Jack. And then that would then tie into, real quick though, but then that would tie into the Oni theory that keeps being brought up about, you know, the invincible Oni, the Demon King. Right, because then if he is a dragon or a Sea King with the Oni Devil Fruit, that would turn him into the human form that we've seen here, this humanoid-like form. I think a lot of people assume he's a human who ate a dragon fruit, when in reality, he could be a dragon who ate a mythical zone type human fruit, just like Chopper and Sengoku, only it would be for an Oni, like a demon.
Yeah. That would mean that.
I don't want to hate. I don't want to hate on this theory because this is the theory that I actually ended up making. Yo King, that's the theory that I ended up making. So I don't want to hate on it. But to get this back to the question of whether or not Kaido could kill himself via drowning. There are many ways in which Kaido, even while not being able to like it's either he can't be killed, straight up nothing can kill him. So even if he walked into the water with a Devil Fruit ability, he still would not die because nothing can kill him. So if we assume that something can kill him, then if he had a Devil Fruit ability and he jumped in the water, sure, he could die. But if he starved himself, he could die. If he consumed an intense amount of poison, he could die. There's many different possible ways he could put on Sea Stone. So the way that I rationalize this, the only way that it makes sense is either A, he straight up cannot be killed, nothing can kill him, or B, that there are only specific ways in which he wishes to die. And I think that this adds up extremely well with all of the scenes in which we've seen him actually try to commit suicide, all the examples that were given. He falls off from a sky island, spears break, the guillotine breaks. All of these are sort of related to how durable he is. So I personally, the way I rationalize this is that Kaido doesn't drown himself because he doesn't want to die via drowning. He wants something to actually pierce his armor, quote unquote.
And there's Blackbeard. That's where Blackbeard comes in because he's got the Devil Fruit that negate the powers of the Devil Fruit.
Wait, stop.
Wait, go ahead, King. Go ahead.
What?
Go ahead, King.
What egg are you talking about? Seriously.
Google.
Yeah.
Google Oro Jackson.
You have to read chapter 0.
Yeah, with Shiki.
Yeah, the Ed War with Shiki and Roger. Yeah.
But I was going to say about that, Roger. Like that would mean that Kaido's like 26 because that was, that's when that happened. 26
So what?
years
Let's
ago.
find Wapple's 29. Well, Kaido looks better than Wapple. So like. Really, King is blown away by this egg thing clearly because he just goes.
I just didn't know about this egg thing. I had no idea about this egg thing. Like I was like, wait, egg? Like wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Check that photo. It actually highlights it.
And it's on all the models of the Oro Jackson. There's like ship models, and it's on all of them.
The most popular theory surrounding this is that the egg is in some way related to Uranus, because Shiki specifically says that Roger knows the location of an ancient weapon. We don't know exactly what that is, and there's this mysterious fucking egg that's nobody knows.
Maybe they went to go get the egg, and it would make sense if a dragon was was Uranus, because Uranus is the god of the sky, and what is Shenron? Literally, it's a giant dragon in the sky.
I'm with Roger too, because I find it hard to believe that Chopper's going to be the only animal that's ever become a sentient kind of being.
Right.
Yeah. And I also think that Kaido not drowning in a way, I definitely think it's been foreshadowed with Jack. Like he's the exception. Why can't there be more exceptions to not drowning?
Oh yeah, look at Blackbeard. He can eat 2 fruits. Why can't Kaido just break the drowning rule altogether?
Exactly.
Maybe he can actually move underwater.
Well, for the drowning rule, the only ones that have broken that rule are fishermen. So there was that one guy at Fisherman Island, the guy with the target fruit. Vanderdecken,
yeah.
Vanderdecken.
Yeah, and then there was Jack. So
But the point is, you're setting up. But the point, you're building up like audiences' expectations to think about the possibility that having a devil fruit is not, and like it's not a problem in certain instances. Like you open up that Pandora's box in a way.
I was hoping more so for there to be an implication or a discussion maybe where the reason why he can't drown is because he has actually attained the favor of the sea goddess or something of that sort. Remember how back in the day it was stated how the devil fruits, they were cursed by the sea goddess, therefore anyone who has that they drown. So I thought maybe there was a way where that could
guess like I was thinking about it in terms of like the Opi no Mi, like you know how like the immortality, does the sea negate that immortality? Do you think?
Yeah, that's what,
probably if you look at Brooke has drowned before, and he doesn't lose the life that he gets.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it wouldn't matter anyway because he would still be immortal. So, like, are there certain devil fruits where they can overcome the curse of the sea goddess, or does he have the sea goddess's favor? Therefore, he doesn't drown. Therefore, he won't die that way. So, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it could be the case where he is a Zoan. Or he's an animal who ate a Zoan ability, like a mystic one, like some kind of like Oni, maybe, who knows. But I really want Oda to touch upon more so the devil fruit spectrum itself and how that actually was created and like what the foundations are about that and how they can be manipulated in the same way humans can be manipulated. And then the soul of the devil fruit, that kind of stuff has yet to be really fleshed out. I mean, he did say that Vegapunk, when he comes into the story, that will be like where things start to broaden. Kaido could also be a way of explaining things that maybe pertain to this to the country that existed 1,000 years ago.
This is what I'm saying, though. I'm saying that the drowning aspect, like people are focusing way too much on it because it's not important. Because, like I said, I'll repeat myself here, that if Kaido is actually immortal, nothing can kill him. Not even drowning could kill him, right? So you can just throw out drowning and everything else. If he could die by drowning, there's other things that could also kill him. So people are like, well, you know, if he is, you know, why hasn't he drowned himself? It's not important because then you would ask the question of why hasn't he done all of these other things that could potentially kill him. It's not important to specify it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Dang. Well, we've been talking for a little over 3 hours now about One Piece. And I'm sure all of us could continue on for much longer, but it is a Friday night. We all want to respect women, you know. So, guys,
Fornever World more than everyone else.
What we're gonna do? Probably Fornever World more than everyone else. Yeah, my girlfriend's probably not even. Well, she definitely is not watching the stream. It's a 3-hour-long stream. She's working on the Samus cosplay. So, with that being said, first off, I just want to say thank you to all of you guys for coming to the stream. I think this was literally groundbreaking.
We made history.
Like, we actually managed to get everybody on one stream talking about our favorite series. This is amazing.
Being civil about it.
And being civil about it. Well, that's because certain people aren't here. Exactly. That's why. That's like, so before we wrap up, just really quickly, everybody, plug your channels, unless you're part of RogersBase. Otherwise, plug your channels. Let everybody know where they could find you before we wrap this up.
I don't want to. Yo, what's poppin'? Brago the Ace, you can go find me there. Thanks for having me, Roger. This was dope.
You got it, man. You got it. No one else is gonna plug. All right. Well, I guess I'm making the stream. I guess.
Wait. We're going by the. Stop. It's me. Damn it. All right. Listen, man. Okay. The king. Ooh. The lightning. That is King of Lightning. Look it up. Jesus Christ. Now, I'm amazing. Subscribe to me. Definitely. Captain Buggy, you know, if you want to come to a stream, by all means, dog. I ain't stopping you, bro, all right? I ain't stopping you, man. So it's been fun. It's been a pleasure. We'll do it again. Absolutely.
For sure.
This is amazing.
I do have a channel, but I've been redundant for like 2 years. You'll find me more on Twitter, Fury2. It's been a pleasure meeting a lot of the people I watch every day. So I appreciate the invite.
Yeah, so Joy Boy Theories, Joy_boy. If you haven't heard of me, check me out. I do a lot of videos. I talk about everything pretty much.
Literally everything. You make some theory videos, and I'm like, I don't know what you're
yo man, you gotta believe, right?
At least it's not like anime fan talk infamous. Just like,
hey, come on, man. I like Franklin. He's
look at that subtle right there. You know what? I can appreciate that. Thank you.
Hang on, King. We've had a day where the community's come together. Don't start like bringing it.
Listen. All I said was that he's cool, but the man is still infamous. I ain't changing anything. Infamy. I'm infamous. Shit.
Never world here.
Damn it.
I tried to spin that way like Judgment 5 level.
Huge shout out to RogersBase for the stream, because years ago it was never even a thought that a lot of the gentlemen in here would all be banded together to do this. So huge shout out to RogersBase. Thank you for having me. I'm an anime and manga fan and #1 woman respecter. So yeah.
Respect.
Where's
Dustin? You want to go?
Dustin. Hey, thanks for having me. I just want to give a birthday shout out to 100% Madison. She wants to get to 1,000 subs for her birthday. So if y'all guys,
hey, this man's respecting women. Look at
that. Fornever, your teacher's rubbing off,
especially on the birthday. Hello.
Of course. The one man who hasn't done a plug yet is the Shanks of the War, Sawyer.
No.
This man, I want to say this.
I was just waiting for somebody else to go, but go ahead. You were going to say something? You can go ahead.
I was just going to say that you are the most elusive person on the internet to get a hold of, because everybody else, I'm like, oh, we're having this DM conversation on Twitter. Dude, you are literally a ghost. I had to, in order to get him into the stream, I had to message him via the YouTube message.
Shit.
Brago, Brago
I haven't used those in years.
Because Brago can attest to this, because I think one time he messaged me through that, and I did show up. Like, I was in the chat. So if you want to get in contact with me, that's the best way to reach me, honestly.
Yeah, no.
You gotta make it.
I mean, I just use Twitter to see like what the trending topics are, because I knew it. There's just like
Sawyer uses Twitter. Yo, this is the theory confirmed. Earlier in the stream.
I don't have a Twitter.
Yo,
I don't have a Twitter. What the fuck? Like, I don't have a Twitter.
It's fine. It works the same. Theory confirmed. Don't take away the hype.
I go on the website to check the trending topics because I use it as a news feed, but that's pretty much it. Because I mean, look, not to be mean or anything, but I get enough cancer through YouTube. Like, I'm good.
Right.
Like, I'm good.
No. On a real, Twitter is one of my favorite social media platforms, because there's cancer on there, but it is so much fun.
That's right. Shout out to Twitter. Hashtag sponsor today.
Yo, I fucking hate Facebook.
Fuck Facebook.
Well, Facebook sucks. Yeah, I hate
fuck Facebook. Right. Twitter is where it's at. It's so fun. Everybody. Well, of course, there's dickheads there, but Twitter is my shit. I love Twitter.
That's right. That's right.
Yo. That's a transition to me, and my home is Twitter with the manga clout. Visit me there. Twitter at YonkoProd. I have Yonko Productions.
Yo, he's the Monkey D Dragon, the #1 sought after motherfucker when it comes to anime. Yo, wants him burnt at a fucking cross.
Watch out, man. I know they got spies, man.
Yo, there are spies everywhere. Yonko,
like,
you are the #1.
How do you get your news?
Big news and Morgans, man.
Big news, Yonko.
I'm gonna tell you after the stream.
Yeah, exactly. I knew.
No, while we're finding out,
their notebooks out like, oh, here we go. Nope.
While we're finding out off stream Yonko Productions secrets, because we don't want Shueisha to write a death note for him. By the way, the new Death Note movie. Pretty true. Exactly right. Exactly. We're gonna wrap up the stream. Thank you to everybody who tuned in. You guys are the best. Live long and prosper. Whatever. I don't know what you guys want to talk. King, do the little thing with the mouse too, and then we'll wrap this up.
You know the joke, people. You know the goddamn. There is a device at your disposal called Zaymousu, and you use Zaymousu to click, rate the video, to click, subscribe. You click on that bell to join the squad, and stop commenting, please. All right, just anime fan talk. We're okay, right? You know, Sabo Yonko level, right?
Judge,
yeah.
There it is.